Bam! Hey everybody, welcome to Rocky Mountain Sports Network's live first round 2023 draft coverage. And I decided to poop in and shock y'all because I'm not Keith Brogan, I'm not Albert Knoppers, and I'm not Jody Moncrief. I'm Matt Staffiero. But it couldn't be done without the great DBR team, and let me bring them in now. Here's Keith Brugman. Where's he at?
I'm here, brother, man. I am here. You guys ready, man? You guys ready for some Broncos? Ready for some first round?
You know what?
Let's go, buddy.
Let's go. Would be, but where's my Broncos at? They're not here tonight.
No, well, you never know, buddy. You never know. You never know. But if not, we're still here for you. We're still here
Absolutely. For you, well, and this would not be the DBR crew if we did not bring in the next gentleman, the Mile High Dutchie himself, Mr. Albert Knoppers. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing great. You know, this is my birthday's in April, but I tell everybody my birthday actually starts whatever Thursday the draft starts on, and then it goes through the birthday weekend for me because this is when I get all my true presents usually when the Broncos are picking. So.
Do we need to start singing then?
Oh, I mean, if you want to, that's up to you guys.
Come on, no, man. We're not giving it to him already. When's your birthday?
April 13th. I'm 2 weeks late.
Oh, we already missed it. That's right. We did. We'll have to get a happy birthday in here, but we'll get introductions in, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, the DBR crew would not be complete if we didn't have Mr. Jody Moncrief. Mr. Jody's tied up in some other things, but he may show up later, but in his place, we bring on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network newcomer, Mr. Jeff Britt. How you doing, Jeff?
Oh, I'm better not deserved, fellas. How we doing tonight?
We're excited.
I'm doing fantastic, man. Got it. Hey, man, we wait all year for this, man. We wait all year for the draft, man. This is Christmas, man. We gotta love it. It's fantastic.
Dang, but heck, it'll be fun.
Prior to my kids' birthdays, right? They used to ask me, "What's your favorite holiday?" And I said, "Draft day."
Well done, sir.
But yeah, so we have a ton of content for everybody to come in and break down. So feel free to shoot in your comments, questions, anything you guys have, whether it's Broncos related, NFL related. You know, maybe we're going to see some shocking picks. Who knows what's going to happen? We do know that the draft has started. Panthers are about 7 minutes left on the clock. Gentlemen, I think we should just start there. I think we all have the similar train of thought of where this is going. Does anyone have any surprise pick here that this could be someone other than Bryce Young? Anybody want to go down that path today?
I got my tinfoil hat right here, brother.
All right, let's hear it.
Just a little rumor that's been going about, Anthony Richardson being this pick. And I don't know about you, man, but I would be down for it. This would be fantastic. This would start the draft off on, a less than predictable path. Let's just put it that way. I think it would blow this thing up. Anthony Richardson, I'm hoping, does go number one. I don't know how true that is, but I just want to put my tinfoil hat idea out there. All right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, couple comments coming in quick from a good buddy, David Slade of, Rocky Mountain Sports Report and Network Hero over here coming in, talking about Keith is looking like the mouth of the South. Keith's got his draft attire on. When you getting picked tonight, Keith?
I'm in the green room, so hopefully very soon, man. I'm all set to go. I'm just waiting for the call.
Yeah,
got my phone ready. There's one team I'm hoping that trades up for me, but yeah.
What is that, the Vegas Raiders?
Oh, how dare you, man. How dare you, man. Is there a way that I can kick you off this stream? I think there is, man.
No, there totally
you better watch
is.
Yourself, man.
And then our good buddy over from K&K also coming in about the appearance. Keith looks like he just won a Grammy Award. Keith came prepared to play. I'm coming in my tracksuit here pretty much. I got the track pants on and the t-shirt. Rocking a full dad bod today. That's the way it goes.
There you go, man. Yeah, a little something special for everybody. I appreciate everyone that tuned in, and man, love that you're appreciating the outfit. So give a lot of love and respect to all my guys, though, around the horn, man. They're here. They're knowledgeable, not just pretty. So they'll bring it all to you guys. So I'm excited, man. How much time do we have left before this pick goes down, man?
Give me 1 sec. I just take it down real quick.
440.
440.
Whoo, tick, 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 tick.
you know, do either one of you guys, the tinfoil hat for sure? Okay, well, hold on real quick. I got to address the comment real fast. Dave's coming at me for a Bama shirt. I told you guys the story, right, already when we were up here earlier. So Dave's coming at me for a Bama shirt. And I'm going to tell you the story real quick, Dave, because we got a minute here because we know Carolina's going to drain this clock for them to name Bryce Young as their next quarterback. But recently went on a trip out to Alabama right as all their college gear went on sale at Walmart for $1. I bought like 10 Alabama shirts, 10 Auburn shirts. And usually I'd use it to do yard work, but it's in honor of the draft and Will Anderson. I just thought I'd bring it out today.
And teams from the whole SEC. Oh, sorry. I didn't know what we were doing there.
Yeah,
Auburn, Alabama. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not even an SEC fan if I'm being real.
Very good.
Can't avoid a good deal, my grandma says. If you see it, you take it. But going back to the draft, as we have a few minutes as Carolina approaches, Jeff, Albert, do you guys think this could go anywhere other than Bryce Young?
I'll let Albert go. Go ahead, brother.
We might have a mute issue.
Do we have a mute issue?
Yep, indeed. I don't think it's going nowhere except for a quarterback because they're really in need of one.
Do you think it's going to be Bryce Young?
Most likely.
Yeah.
I don't think they will go after what is it, Bennett or something like that.
Ooh, that would be off the charts.
If Stetson Bennett goes anywhere
At all.
Yeah, anywhere before the end of the sixth, I would be completely shocked. I think he's going to be one of your UDFAs. I mean,
yeah.
He's got a lot going for him. I mean, he's got the moxie, he's got the championship, but we all know Georgia, especially SEC Georgia quarterbacks, outside of the Matthew Stafford exception, it's typically they don't translate well to the NFL, which is going to come up here in a minute when we talk Ohio State and CJ Stroud. I know that for sure.
Man, for me, I could see a world where Anthony Richardson goes first because he's got all the tools. And if you just look at physically gifted, like he's more physically gifted than any other quarterback in the class. But
you listen. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, you're good. He's only played 13 games, and I just don't think there was a reason for Carolina to trade up to get him. I think they were originally picking. So I'm thinking it's Bryce Young all the way.
When they were talking to the coach last, he said, it took a while. We all came to a consensus, but it slowly built to the place where we're at, and we all are on board with this pick. Yeah. That's one reason I think that's a possibility for Anthony Richardson. Another reason is because they didn't want to be San Francisco and trade up for the third pick, and then Anthony Richardson catches fire and someone trades up to the second pick and ends up going in front of you. I mean, you don't want it. I think it was a necessary thing if you want to get the quarterback that that you want. You have to go to one. You can't play around. If you're gonna
Bryce Young.
Yep, here's getting ready to say it. The pick is coming now, and it is indeed
Bryce Young.
Well, yeah, so much for my tinfoil hat, boys.
Well, I was buying what you were selling, man. I was ready to pick Will Richardson, brother. So you had me.
Twitter, right in the middle of Keith's speech, I seen Twitter run it, but I was like, we're going to let him have his moment.
Thanks, man.
I was there with you.
We're going to let him look like an idiot.
Richardson.
No. Richardson's interesting, though. There's been – we'll talk Texans a little bit now because there's been rumors that this pick wasn't going to be a quarterback, that they were debating between the edge out of where is it now? I'm drawing a blank.
Bama and Texas Tech.
There you go. Yeah, was it Tyree Wilson? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Yeah, you got Tyree Wilson and Will Anderson.
Anderson.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's one route they could go. As we talked about a little bit earlier, odds shifted in favor of CJ Stroud about 15 minutes, before the draft. We'll see if that, if Vegas goes 2 for 2, we'll see. There's been, speaking of Stroud, we've heard there's been a lot of commotion around Stroud and this cognitive ability test that he took. He supposedly scored poorly. He came out and he addressed it, saying, I'm not a test taker. I'm a football player. And that I respect that. I mean, outside of the Ohio State cursing quarterbacks, but so we'll have to see where it goes. But going back to your discussion on Anthony Richardson for you and Jeff both, We're talking a quarterback who, on paper, without even getting, his tools, sharpened anything, we're looking at a Cam Newton clone just on physique and ability alone. The kid's coming in at 20 years old. He's kind of like the blank canvas that that anyone would dream to work with. Now you just got to pair it with the right coach. And that's why I wouldn't see him going here to Houston. I just don't think it makes sense for Richardson to go to Houston. They did bring in the offense. They brought in the quarterback coach over from San Fran to be their OC, and we seen what he did with Purdy. But this is a different skill set. This is a different animal in Richardson. I think if I had to pick a place that I would love to see Richardson go, it's going to be most likely Indy. Pair him with Steichen. We've seen what Steichen could do with Hurts. And I just think that's the pairing in heaven. You don't have to rush him. If you do, you are in probably the weakest conference in the AFC. So he's going to have time to grow with it. So that's my 2 cents on Richardson. Let's get to the Texans pick. Does anyone want to throw out who they think it's going to be?
Will Anderson.
Will Anderson. You're going to stick with Will Anderson. What about you, Mr. Knoppers? Where are you going at? Drop some Knoppers knowledge on us. Where are these Texans going?
I think they will go edge.
Edge?
Because they're pretty decent on quarterback. I think they can do with what they have, but edge is where they need it because their offense is pretty decent, but their defense that is really struggling.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Keith?
I would be seconding Mr. Jeff there and Will Anderson, man. I think that's the right pick. And similar to what you just got done saying, Matt, I don't think this is the position to put a quarterback in. I think they do have something that they can actually build with the talent they have at quarterback currently, and let's let it go from there. I think that's I know it's really tough being the second overall pick, but I think Will Anderson is going to have to be it. I just can't see pushing for C.J. Stroud and putting him in that mix right now, man.
Yeah, where I sit with it, I'm definitely looking at edge. It's a possibility. Mr. David Slade comes in here with another great prospect. There's been rumors whether despite the offseason issues that have kind of come up, Jalen Carter, defensive lineman out of Georgia, that's an interesting way to go. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think, they don't have to look at quarterback at 2. They do have pick 12 later on. They can move around. They do have a ton of assets to move around. But I don't think they're going to play it risky. It's a whole new, regimen. Nick Caserio's the GM's, he's already kind of swung. He's went after Garoppolo. That didn't work. I think they're ready to invest in their quarterback. I don't think this is going to be Will Levis. I think if we see a quarterback slide tonight, it will be Levis. So I'm going to say this is CJ Stroud. I think they just got to rip the Band-Aid off and go with it.
I just think that for them, no matter who you draft here, you're going to be awful next year. You're probably going to be the worst team in the league. And give me Caleb Williams over anybody in this draft. I'd rather give me Will Anderson play edge, and I'll draft Caleb Williams next year, who's a generational talent. He's probably the best prospect since Andrew Luck. I mean, he's better than every quarterback that's in this draft tonight for sure. So if I'm them, I'll just suck one more year and then go get the best player that probably in the last 5 or 6 drafts.
I want to address a little bit what David Slade said earlier about Jalen Carter. At one point, this guy was maybe rumored to be the number 1 pick in all this draft. And I think that's very telling of this draft, as well as all the conversation that we're having. Because as of right now, we're talking about we don't know who the number 2 quarterback is. We don't know if it should be Will Anderson, if it should be, we have no idea what number 2 is. This is going to be a really interesting draft. I think a lot we'll see people quote unquote slide, I think, because guys will be taken out of position. And when all of a sudden you're forced with possibly a CJ Stroud sitting in front of you and you're in the 4th or the 5th pick, what are you going to do? You got to figure out something. Things are going to be moving around, I think, a lot tonight, guys.
Yeah, definitely. We could see our first trade as soon as the next pick. The Texans pick is in, so Goodell should be out any moment to announce it.
Right now, boys. Who you got, boys? Anderson?
I'm sticking
Anderson.
with Stroud.
It was Stroud. Wow. Good call.
Wow.
I just think they had to rip the Band-Aid off at this point. It makes sense. Stroud, it makes – because, we just talked about it. Richardson, out of this entire quarterback class, while he has the most potential to be he's the best athlete, all these things going for him, he's the most raw. He's 20 years old. He's coming out of a poor situation out at Florida. We know Florida's a mess right now. Their program's SEC, so they'll rebound one day. But right now, out of it, it's just not to where it needs to be. So I think he made the right decision by coming out. But Houston knows that this guy's going to need a lot of work. He's going to possibly have to sit. And I just don't think that they felt that they had the coaching staff to bring him along. And this isn't a pick they can afford to miss. So CJ Stroud makes them competitive in that AFC South, though. I won't hesitate on that. I mean,
I
Titans.
disagree more, man. I think he's a bust.
He's not my favorite quarterback. I will be honest. My number 2 quarterback in this class is probably going to surprise a lot of people. And, it's unfortunate what's happened to him with the ACL.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker is probably the number 2 quarterback in this class for me.
I don't disagree, man.
Hugh will change something in him at Tennessee. He was going to see a slide even if he didn't have the ACL. I think even if he came out, played lights out. I mean, dude was on track for the Heisman. He had Tennessee competing. They were in the national championship, the playoffs, picture because of his play. It's unfortunate, but he's also 25, so we may have also seen him slide just on age alone. Anthony Richardson's 20. We're looking at Hendon Hooker, who's 5 years older. And he's older than some starting quarterbacks already in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think if you're playing that much into age, you're shooting yourself in the foot in both instances. If you're sitting there saying Hendon Hooker is going to slide because he's 25 years old, 25? 25.
I don't think he would slide drastically, but I do think
I'm just saying. He's not sliding 5 picks for me. If I'm a GM. And similarly, if you're going to let a 20-year-old phenom that's jumping out the gym, dashing down the 40, and lighting it up in just about every category physically in Anthony Richardson go, man, I think that's really tough. I think he needs to be moving up the board, in my opinion. He needs to be moving up the board. I think Seattle's a perfect spot for him. Wouldn't be surprised if he happens there.
Awesome.
Dutchie, you got a trade coming?
I'm waiting right now. I'm waiting. I got Twitter up. I'm trying to not let it spoil my draft here. So I just kind of refresh and see if I see any trades.
Mr. Knoppers, what do you think? You think Cardinals are trading this?
It's a difficult one. The Cardinals need a lot, but if they can get more picks, I cannot see why not.
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. The players are there that they probably need, but if the picks are there and they can move back a little bit, if the offer is enticing enough, I like Albert's idea. However, they didn't want a quarterback. Top 2 are off the board. They're sitting pretty if they want to take that pick. If they're stuck with that pick, they're not stuck in a bad spot either.
Yeah, right now what I say with the Cardinals, you look at who's available. Will Anderson, I cannot remember this kid texted A&M for some reason. I could slip my mind. Tyree Wilson. He climbed up the boards magically in the last 2.5, 3 weeks. I mean, most places are still updating to where they had him even as of the 25th. He was still ranked at 28th on the board. Now PFN's got him at 5. So he, as much as you look at them and you look at what their team is, does Tyree Wilson, does Will Anderson make them a playoff contender? No. We know this team is rebuilding. We know that they have a long way to go. They need the picks. They desperately need picks. Jonathan Gannon, while he's a great defensive mind, one could argue, I'm a big Gannon fan.
Who's coming for the picks, man? Who's coming with all the picks?
This is going to be so suspicious. There's been rumors all day. Philadelphia wants to move up for a premier pass rusher. They got Philadelphia is one of the best teams when it comes to draft because they just stack the capital all the time. Howie Roseman
the picks.
Yeah, he stacks. He invests in hog mollies and he stacks the picks. That's what he does. He's got a connection already. We just talked about the settlement for tampering between Philadelphia and Arizona over the hire of John Gannon. They've already made one trade today. Is this the trade we see Philly come up and snag one of these top, edge rushers? Or, I just said it. He loves those hog mollies. He loves those defensive linemen. Do they come up and try to get Jalen Carter? if a trade happens. Right now, we're looking like they might be on the phone. Pick's not in. They're at about a minute and a half. Is that what you got, Jeff?
Yeah, I think this is a trade. If I'm looking at it,
It's got to
the
be.
top 2 quarterbacks are off the board. I'm thinking the Colts, the Raiders, those teams that are quarterback needy are sitting here thinking, I can't wait. I've got to go get my guy. So even if you're the Cardinals, you could sit here and trade the 3rd for the 4th, drop back 1 spot, still get whoever you want. Kind of like what happened with Mitch Trubisky a few years ago. They traded up 1 spot. They gave up a lot for it. So I could see something like that happen. I could see
All right.
Indianapolis
I got some news. I'm waiting for it to be confirmed, but I am hearing that the Cardinals and Texans have made a trade.
Yep, they have. All right,
Texans.
this is Will Anderson then.
See?
It's got to be Will Anderson. It's got to be Will Anderson. If it's not Will Anderson,
getting crazy already, boys. Getting crazy already. No one predicted the Texans to be jumping back up within the top 5 to go get their guy.
I think this is such a mistake for the Texans.
Wow.
So, see, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to throw my point at you first real quick, right? So what I love about what the Texans have done. So when we look at what we classify as primo positions, quarterback and edge and left tackle are typically your top 3. You can have whatever order you want it in. They already got the primo and left tackle. They got Tunsil. They know he's there. So what they just went and did is they went out and they secured their next 2 that they're going to build. This is our core. We got Tunsil, we got Stroud, we got, if it is Anderson, if they traded up all this to snag Wilson, I think that's a mistake. If it's Will Anderson, he's a dominant edge. You just secured your top 3 positions. It's the start of your rebuild. And I think they could have gotten more picks to trade back from 12 where they're at. But if this is Jalen Carter, I'll be a little disappointed as well. This has to be Will Anderson, or I think that's where it flops for me.
Yeah.
Man, we both called Will Anderson. I want to go over to Albert, kind of get his ideas. Is it Will Anderson? Is it Jalen Carter? Man, this guy was supposed to be the top of the draft. Man, I think it's
Jalen Carter.
You do think it's Jalen Carter?
Yep.
And I don't know if Matt's putting his hands on his head because of.
Is it Jalen Carter?
I'm not gonna spoil the pick. Unfortunately, Twitter did spoil the pick for me. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yep.
All right.
But I do want to go over the compensation though. That's what I want to hit
Campbell?
on. What I want to go over is the compensation, and this is where even if this is Will Anderson, I'm feeling a little shaky.
Okay.
Well, it looks like Goodell's getting ready to announce his pick. We'll let him go first.
All right, buddy.
Where are we at, Jeff?
Yeah, Will Anderson.
It had to be. But
terrible choice. I mean, he's a good player, but what they're doing is stupid.
Now what they traded, this makes it iffy for me. So Cardinals we were just talking about Cardinals need something to get this rebuild started. They get 12, 33, a first in 2024, and a third in 2024. Texans get 3 and pick 105.
Dude, they just got next year's first round pick.
Possibly.
First overall pick. This is why I don't like it for the Texans, is because you're not even close to competing. You could sell me all day and, we got the top 3 guys. Sure, but your other 50 suck.
Yeah. All I know, I don't love the compensation they paid to move up to snag him.
I think that's dangerous, man. And that gives the Cardinals some flexibility. I mean, they could probably get out from under Kyler Murray next year.
And just imagine this. So you're talking about best way to rebuild it. Let's say that Kyler Murray stays healthy and shows signs that he's going to be able to be competent. I mean, the money in general is just going to be hard to move around with Kyler either way.
But could he even do it? I mean, does he have enough time on the field this year to prove it after that ACL injury? How much time does he miss?
I'll have to look into it. I don't follow the Cardinals.
I'm thinking he's missing at least half the season.
But these are the Houstons, and they have made many, dumbfounded decisions.
That's what I feel like this is.
I think we need to launch an investigation on tampering between the Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt. Now we're giving all these picks up in order to trade back up. Maybe there's some tampering going on here. I have no idea why you'd jump that far back up. It just you've given away the farm for, and man, I just hope that you guys really have done your research. These guys are 2 future Hall of Fame guys, because if they're not 2 huge future Hall of Fame guys, what you gave up was
Way too
dang
much.
near ridiculous.
Yeah,
Dang near ridiculous.
this is probably even more than what the Broncos paid for Russell Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, this is stupendous. I mean, to
Yeah.
give up a player or two, like a Noah Fant or a Shelby Harris, like the Broncos did, one of which isn't even on the NFL roster at this point, is nothing. Throw it in a couple picks, get a quarterback. To get C.J. Stroud, to get Will Anderson, and to give up that many picks, right on board with Matt, and I'm pretty sure I'm on board with Jeff as well. This is insanity. I can't believe this has happened, guys. This is throwing me for a loop already.
I mean,
And,
it's heavy.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, so just I on a quick Google search, estimated recovery time for Kyler would be about 9 months. That would be everything goes right. So that put us right about the start of the season. It sounds like that's not exactly where it's at. Like I said, it's a perfect world. So we're looking at maybe somewhere by the midpoint. So somewhere between, within the first 6 weeks, we should see him hit the field again. So maybe he does have enough time to prove it. But, in the hypothetical he shows that he's able to carry this, or they can't move out from that money. And they do get a top 5 pick. You just gave the Cardinals all the ammunition they need to even stack this even further.
I mean, you look at Arizona, how bad they're going to be and how bad the Texans are likely to be. They might have 1 and 2 next year.
I mean,
I don't think that's that far outside of the realm of possibility.
I mean,
You're probably talking about the worst NFC team and the worst AFC team.
that's fair. I mean, that is fair. I mean,
wow, that's a lot to give up, man. I mean, I hope the Texans know what they're doing. It makes me very grateful that the Broncos didn't hire D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah, well, we also have to wonder how much say does D'Amico Ryan's having this. We know Caserio is the GM. He's coming over from.
Yeah, but Casario's been there a while. At this point, if he still has power, then their owner just needs to get a clue.
Yeah, so
he's been terrible in every decision that he's made. At some point, you got to take the guy's power away.
Hey, I'm with you. So it's gonna be interesting to see if this was I'm wondering if a Stroud was a Caserio and Anderson was a D'Amico Ryan's pick. But shifting gears really fast because they're moving fast and furious now. Switching gears to the Colts. Colts, as we all know, there's rumors they've been in the talk. This could be a quarterback. They had the failed Matt Ryan experiment. Frank Reich is gone. He's over at Carolina now with Bryce Young, and now we see. Shane Steichen, the guy who's been given all the credit in the development of Mr. Jalen Hurts. Is this where we see the quarterback go? Is this a Will Levis? Is this an Anthony Richardson? Is this a Hendon Hooker? Or is this going to be, one of those other players we're talking about? Is this a Jalen Carter? I mean, I find that iffy, but is this going to be somebody else or is this a quarterback? Let's start with Jeff today.
I think it's Will Levis.
Oh, don't do this to me. Will Levis is Drew Lock 2.0, and I hate to say it.
I think he's going here, and I think Richardson goes to 7 to the Raiders.
I'm. You know what? Josh McDaniels will run that guy. So
that's why I want him to go to the Raiders because that means the Raiders will be off.
Will Levis. I mean, you can give him Will Levis, or you could give him Anthony Richardson. He's gonna run either one of them if we're being for real.
Yeah, I think it's Levis
Sorry
here.
about that.
All right, you're going Levis. Okay. What about you, Keith? Where are you going?
Man, they have needs at cornerback. They could kick off that little run right now. They have needs at offensive line, but I think this is a little bit too early for that. Quarterback, I think, is where it's at, and I'm gonna go. Me and Jeff, we're gonna go tag team, go wrestling, man. I was already called Jimmy the South. I could be your promoter. I think it's Will Levis, buddy.
Oh, Mr. It's right here. Real quick, I think you both are wrong. It's got to be Richardson. He's fit Steichen too much. He's gonna run.
You got to stay off the Twitter.
They're gonna get him. I said it before we even got to this pick. Anthony Richardson and Steichen. It's the perfect pairing.
I think we will hear in a minute.
It's Richardson. He got drafted.
Yeah, that's why he started going 100 miles an hour. Wow.
No, I mean, I said it earlier. I did say this is the perfect pairing. If there's anyone who's going to maximize Richardson's potential, it's going to be Steichen. We've seen what he did with Jalen Hurts, a mobile quarterback, helped him get more comfortable in the pocket. Hurts is even as a rookie, he's starting off is way more comfortable in the pocket than Richardson is. Hurts was a better prototypical quarterback than what Richardson is right now.
Sure.
That's what scares me for Richardson is like, well, he developed Jalen Hurts. He's not Jalen Hurts.
He's not. Now, what we've seen with guys.
Let me just real quick, Jeff. If he would have stayed in the system, and who knows, especially with transfer portal system, the whole 9 yards, could he have been a Jalen Hurts, or is he not a Jalen Hurts?
I think the things that make Jalen Hurts special, as me and you talked about earlier, Keith, it's not necessarily the field stuff; it's everything else. And I just don't think that many people have that. Like the work ethic, the intensity, the commitment, the drive, the leadership. Like that's why Jalen Hurts is who Jalen Hurts is. Like he does not have the physical gifts that Richardson has. Richardson's more talented than Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts just has everything else, which is what made him who he is. So you can give Steichen all the credit that you want, but at the end of the day, I'm with you. Jalen Hurts was going to be good no matter where Jalen Hurts went because he's Jalen Hurts.
See,
Well said.
if a player has natural talent, you cannot teach that. But you can teach people to be on time, to be trained, to put heart in it. You can teach that. So this might be a good fit for the Colts because of Jalen Hurts and the example that he was.
Yeah.
It's a good point, man. Good point, Albert.
And it's all about the quarterback and coach matchup. We've seen, going back to the quarterback we missed desperately when we selected Bradley Chubb and Josh Allen. We've seen that, and Jalen Hurts and Steichen and, so many of these other guys that have kind of sat around and developed. It's that coach pairing where we've seen them work on the weaknesses, where we've seen them not only work on the weaknesses, but convert their scheme to fit their quarterback. Dabble did it for Allen. We've seen Steichen do it for Hurts. That's going to be the most important thing for Richardson and the Colts to be successful. And we've seen him do it before. We've seen him shift his offense to fit his quarterback's needs. And that's why this just made sense to me.
I'll give you that, Matt. I'll give you that. I'm square peg, round hole. I hate that type of mentality. So,
yeah,
I think you do have a good pairing in that regard between these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, going back to relating it to our Broncos fans, because I know they're here with us right now, going back to the Vic Fangio, Drew Lock trials, when we found something that worked, we don't want that, and Gaines is gone. And it derails a quarterback's development when you don't give them the tools to succeed and you can't be, flexible. So it's going to be interesting to see how that does. Now, relating that to the quarterback that we were just talking about and Will Levis, I do think this kid's, it's the SEC big arm quarterback all over again. He's going to need the perfect situation. He's got some footwork issues. He's got, I'm not confident he's going to translate to the next level. And I think that's why, unless a team gets desperate, which teams do for quarterbacks, we're going to see he's the quarterback that everybody mentioned was going to slide. We were told a quarterback was going to slide. It's got to be Levis.
Hey, going real quick, going full circle with our Broncos fans that are with us too. Right now, Seattle Seahawks are sitting number 5, and it sounds like they might be walking up. Is that true, Jeff?
No. They're still on the clock.
Still on the clock? Okay, very good, man.
Yeah, we don't have anything.
Here's that pick that we gave up. Seattle Seahawks are sitting here, number 5. This is part of the compensation for Russell Wilson. What do they get in return? Once again, they got Shelby Harris, no longer on a NFL roster currently. They got Noah Fant. This is one of those picks that they got. Our first pick in this draft, number 5 here for them. It'll be interesting to see what this compensation really stacks up with. As a lot of people say, this is a really bad trade for the Denver Broncos. It also depends on what the Seattle Seahawks end up getting out of this trade.
Yeah, and the clock is getting low, so if this ends up being another trade, which I'm not, I'm trying to stay off Twitter, but I'm gonna lock in a Seattle pick if they do stay put. If they do stay put, I think this is where we do see this could be the Jalen Carter spot right here. I mean,
100%.
They went after tackle last year in Lucas. I mean, could it be one of the first tackles to come off the board to protect their investment with Mr. Geno Smith? I don't think Will Levis fits what they're looking for. In a shocking twist of events, could this be the Hendon Hooker, surprise? I don't think so. I think it's got to be Jalen Carter. If they take Hendon Hooker here, I may have to go take a break and pause and cry for a minute.
I think The good thing about this trade, like I know this is technically the Broncos pick, but they're picking 5. Which if you would have looked at the first of this year, we said, well, yeah, Seattle probably pick about 5. Denver probably picking the 20s. So they ended up getting about the same picks that they would get. But it was just this should be our pick. That's the part that sucks about it. But I mean, I just don't see him going Levis. I think Jalen Carter is probably the pick.
It's got to be, unless they trade it. I mean, we're sitting at almost a minute now, and they haven't put it in yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back at who's coming up. I mean, maybe this is where Philly comes up. Maybe Philly jumps from 10 up to 5 and gets their Jalen Carter.
I mean, it's possible. Real quick, just in a couple comments, we have a couple people coming in here. We got our good buddy Graham from my co-host from Mile High Breakdown over here coming in. Texans are just laughable. So he's on that same wavelength as you, Jeff. A good friend of ours that we all know. He's been a RMSN follower for a hot minute, Mr. Adam Kopel. So thank you for coming in with us guys tonight. You know, if you guys have any draft questions, send them in. We'll try to address all the comments as they come in. But going back
Fantastic
to
seeing you, Adam. Love to see you. Glad you could jump in the comments and yeah, throw some questions if you guys have a chance. So,
hey, I've got a question.
Okay.
Pick, guys. It's in. Seattle is picking. Who they got?
It's got. I'm sticking with
Albert. You going anywhere other than Carter?
Wide receiver.
Ooh, Jackson Smith.
That would make some people angry. That would
It really well a lot between Metcalf and Lockett, though. He'd be a good.
Yeah,
that would break some people's mocks for sure. Right away.
Well, I think the night already has, buddy. Tonight already has. Who had the Texans trading back up?
Yeah, that's true.
It spent some money on Draymond Jones, so maybe this is an edge. They not have strong edges. Maybe this is Tyree Wilson. That's
true, man. That's an option too. Option for him as well.
No, the pick is in there, not trading.
No, it's in.
And they got their tackles last year, so it's not a tackle. So I mean, I don't see him going quarterback. But I mean, I could also see the other side of it. Like if you're a Seahawks guy, are you thinking, man, we're going to be another top 10 pick next year? You're probably thinking we got a chance to make it back to the playoffs. So when are you going to have another shot at a top 5 pick? So if you think Lev has the talent, draft him, let him sit behind Geno, and 2 years down the road, maybe he's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. Just if we're going off best player available, it would be Carter. I mean, there's some other routes, they could go, we talked about the opposite side, trenches win football games. Is this an offensive lineman? There's Skoranorski. That's been kind of rumored to go earlier as the first lineman. Could this be a Broderick Jones if they wanted to go, left tackle? I mean, it's a possibility there. I mean, just looking at the board, I
think when you're I'm more along Jeff's route though, man. If you're going out there, you need to get a generational talent. You need to get a top quality talent. Now, whether that's your quarterback in Will Levis, or whether that happens to be that Jalen Carter, who was a freak all throughout college, other things aside.
Ooh, cornerback, Devin Witherspoon.
Wow.
I was just
Wow. Or a guy like Devin Witherspoon, because they needed cornerback. I just didn't see him going this early, guys.
I mean, I thought he was going to slide. I had him mocked. I had Witherspoon mocked to the Lions, who picked next. It makes sense.
I thought he was a good fit in Atlanta, quite honestly. That's where he'd end up going.
They cover 3 at 5'11". They're like the tall, lanky guy that you're used to. Plus, you got a really good pick last year in Tariq Woolen. Like, I don't know that was your biggest position of need. And honestly, if you're telling me, hey, we get Russ, they get Devin Witherspoon, okay, I'll take that trade. Even with what Russ did last year, take it. You can have Witherspoon, we'll take Russ.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel that Witherspoon is going to be able to pair with Woolen and give you that lot, well, let's circle back to this a little bit. If we look back and when Seattle was successful, what did they do well? They had the Legion of Boom, best secondary in the NFL. They ran the ball phenomenally, and they trusted their quarterback to make big plays when he needed to. They didn't put the pressure on the quarterback. So as there's Pete Carroll dipping back into his bag of tricks and saying, you know what, I need to get my Legion of Boom 2.0. They got Kenneth Walker last year, Marshawn, very similar playing style. Geno, he's not Russell Wilson's a better quarterback when he's healthy. If we look back at it now, Gino could do what Russ did in that Super Bowl run. Trust your run game and make big plays when you need to. So is this them going for that recreation? They brought back KJ Wright. I mean, he's not the player he once was, but is this the blueprint that Carroll's maybe looking to go back to? We know Carroll's getting up there in age. Maybe this is his last hurrah, these last few, maybe next 2-3 years of him to try to bring back LOB2.
Yeah. Hey, it was a formula that worked. You're 100% right. I think, there's certainly that possibility. It's, when we talk about, and I'm spacing on the other cornerback name, Tariq Woolen. I'm sorry. You look at Tariq Woolen, played way, way above where he was expected to play. So now you go in and you're solidifying that other side. You're trying to get, like you said, locked down in the defense. And create that Legion of Boom too. I could completely see it. I'm a little bit interested now as the Lions are on the clock. Does Jalen Carter go here? If not, where does he go? Because I think he could end up seeing a little bit of a slide if he doesn't go here to the Lions. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, been wrong every time so far. So let's.
I'm done picking. It says Jeff.
Maybe we talked about character issues being the issue. I mean, we know about the whole, what was it? I can't remember the exact situation. Unfortunately, it resulted in a death of a friend from street racing. I don't remember the entire logistics. So, I mean, that could raise some red flags. So, is it possible while he's a great athlete, we see him have a slide like who was it a few years ago? Went to Titans. Jeffrey Simmons had this. No, his was ACL. I'm trying to remember the other cat. I can't remember.
Well, I think on top of it though too, he ends up not performing well at the combine. He ends up not even running the 40 at his pro day.
Yeah, and then he had to leave.
Doesn't finish his pro day. So what's that?
Didn't he have to leave the combine because of what the issues of what they were investigating? I can't remember really right.
I don't know if he did or not. He certainly didn't perform like he was expected. He certainly came in overweight at his pro day, which is gives you the most amount of time. So
it's like if you're not going to show up to your pro day in shape with nothing to do but get ready for your pro day,
and not complete your pro day. So there's a lot of question marks there, but he was a phenomenal talent on
the clock.
I got some breaking news. Yeah, Cardinals just made a trade to move up to 6 from 12.
Yep.
Cardinals trade pick 12 and 34. So this could be
great for the Cardinals.
Jalen.
This could be Jalen. I mean, if
I'm thinking boys.
Unless it's Tyree Wilson. I mean, the Cardinals were rumored to really like Wilson at 3. So it's got to be Wilson or Carter here. If we go with, Gannon's coming from Howie Roseman's tree recently. He's seen how much he values interior defensive linemen. Could this be the Jalen Carter move? Did he do his thing, hop in front of Philly to take the guy they may have wanted? Or is it Tyree Wilson? If it's anything other than that, I'm shocked.
I think it's Paris Campbell.
You think they traded 2 picks to come back and get Campbell?
What I mean, just listening to what Gannon said when he got to Arizona is that he wasn't going to be there if Kyler wasn't there. And I know that's something you can say, hey, that's what coach has to say. But if you take him at his word that that's true, that he believes in Kyler Murray, you got to keep him healthy and on the field. You got to get guys in front of him that can block. Paris Campbell is probably the best left tackle on the board. Skronsky, everybody likes. I think he profiles more as a guard. I don't think he's a true left tackle in the NFL. I don't think he has the link. I could see them going here for a left tackle.
Yeah. Real quick before we go to the next pick, our comment section's going fast and furious, so I'm going to bring up a few. Our good buddy Kurt Valenci coming over from K&K saying, let's go Broncos. He also hinted on similar to what you said, Jeff, at this point, Devin Witherspoon for Russell Wilson at this point. I'll take Russ. It's going to be an interesting thing. Definitely the trade has not played its story out yet. We can only hope it gets better from here. And then our good buddy, I know from you guys over at DBR, Mr. Clayton Heron is coming in saying, evening, guys, smash the like button, share it, and dig the glasses, Keith. So we got all that coming in. Now going back.
Thank you, Clayton. Thank you, Kurt. Good to see you guys both in here. Glad to have you, and send any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas our way. Love to get in the chat with you.
So for you guys, since we're 5 picks in now, what are of the top 5 prospects? I think only 2 of them are gone, and Anderson and Bryce Young. I think the other guys are not top 5 prospects in my eyes. What do y'all think?
Yeah, my head's spinning, man. That's what I'm
I'm
thinking,
with you.
Jeff. My head is spinning.
What do you think, Mr. Knoppers? You feeling it too? Your head spinning?
Yeah, and you didn't expect to have 2 trades or 3 trades in the first 6 picks either.
All right, Cardinals got their pick. Let's see who it is, boys.
Is
Who
it
y'all
coming
got?
out? It's
I'm
like I
going
said,
Carter.
Carter.
It should be Carter. I'm going to say Carter. I mean, Wilson makes sense too. It's been rumored he had interest. That's who they were thinking at 3. I mean, you look at mock drafts; it was all over the place.
I just think, man, you really need to protect Kyler.
You're going to go with
A
Johnson?
defensive tackle is going to help you. A defensive end is going to help you. But Kyler has to be your future. He has to be. You paid him the money. You have to protect him.
If they snagged Will Levis here, I would have to remove my faith in John Gannon.
I'd be so sad because I want the Raiders to get him so bad.
Come on, Goodell, where are you at?
I just think Jalen Carter looks like he's a generational talent, and I think you're going to have offensive linemen. You have depth at offensive linemen throughout this draft, man. I think this is not a bad draft for offensive linemen. So I think Jalen Carter is the way you got to go, man. Especially if you're going to trade
Paris
back.
Johnson.
Yep, Jeff finally he nailed it this time.
I said Paris Campbell, so I said his name wrong.
You're thinking a wide receiver over there, Paris
but I did
Campbell.
mean this guy. I did mean Paris Johnson.
Wow! Congratulations, Jeff, man.
Thank you.
I thought I was.
Keith,
I thought I was there, man.
With me, I was right.
Of course, right? Of course.
You jumped off the bandwagon a little too soon, man. You should have wrote it out one more pick.
Yeah.
All right.
See, this is what the Broncos should have done last year with right tackle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to go back to your question. I'm gonna use PFN and their draft board and how they have their prospects ranked right now. We got Will Anderson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Jalen Carter, and Tyree Wilson as their top 5 currently. We've had Anderson come off the board, Young come off the board, and Stroud. So 3 out of their top 5 have come off. So we still have 2 left.
My top 5 would have been Young, Anderson, Bijan Robinson, Tyree Wilson, and I guess CJ Stroud. But I'm not sold on CJ Stroud, honestly.
Yeah, out of their top 10, the only other 2 players that have been taken are Anthony Richardson and Paris Johnson, leaving number 9, Bijan Robinson, 8, Will Levis, quarterback Kentucky, 7, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon, and then the 2 we said previously.
Where was Devin?
12th. This is PFN. I know everyone has different rankings. This is just where they had it.
I mean, 12 to getting drafted 5th. I mean, that's a pretty substantial jump.
I mean, depending on where you look, I mean, I have seen a lot of places where they did have Devon Witherspoon as the number 1 corner. Is the one that's been consistent there at 1 or 2 though? It has been Christian Gonzalez, and
yeah, I think
Gonzalez hurts a little bit because he's a CU transfer, so he left CU to go to Oregon. So,
man, so far it's just been Ohio State and Alabama, boys.
Yeah, outside of Anthony Richardson, yeah.
Somebody got an Ohio State shirt on. We got the Bama represented. We should have been wearing Ohio State shirts.
Hey, we'll take it. Hey,
I got a Stroud hat if that counts for anything.
Hey, look at that. There we go. So now we have the everybody's least favorite, the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock, unless they've traded, which I don't believe they have.
Man, I'm excited, man, because for the Denver Broncos, this is what we should be looking at. We should be looking at what our competition is doing. This is our first chance to see what our competition is adding. You know, if I had to choose a Raider-like pick, does Jalen Carter fit the Raiders better than Jalen Carter? Holy cow. I think that's the perfect matchup, and the slide stops here. That's going to be my prediction, but man, Broncos fans, let's watch what happens in this pick. It's a guy that we'll be lining up against twice a year if things work out for their pick, that is.
No, Josh McDaniels knowing he will get a kicker.
Yeah. I'm going to go a different route. I think this is where we see Christian Gonzalez go. Raiders were being tied to a corner early. It's Josh McDaniels. He's going to pass on the quarterback.
Well, I tell you, the pick that would scare me the most would be Tyree Wilson. to put him across from Max Crosby. I think
agree.
that's terrifying, and I would hate if they did that. That being said, I think the Raiders are probably going to Raider, and this could, I mean, who knows? This could be anybody, but I'm thinking probably Will Levis.
You know, going back to your Wilson thought, I mean, you're not only pairing
Will
him
Levis. That's a
Yeah.
interesting pick. Go Will Levis here, man. We're all over the board, boys.
Yeah, going back to what you said with Wilson real quick, Jeff, before we get to Albert, you're not only pairing him with Crosby, you're pairing him with Chandler Jones.
Yeah, and that's terrifying. That's a lot to watch.
Who was
Can you
Chandler
imagine-
Jones last year? Is he going to have a resurgence? Because if you pair him with Chandler Jones last year, yeah, fine. Do that do it all year long. I'm fine with that, man. That guy played terrible.
I mean, he is 1 year off of what, 12 sacks or something like that.
Yeah, he
He went from like 12 to 2. You know, I don't know.
You know, he had to get used to the McDaniels way.
Think about those
sucking,
got 5
being terrible.
First week, he got 5 against the Titans.
I think he fell right into the McDaniels way.
Albert, real quick before they make their pick, because it's not in yet, I don't believe. We'll get yours, and then I want to throw out the surprise pick because this is good. I have the Raiders perfect pick for the guy who wants to be a Raider. But go ahead.
They will go O-line.
You're gonna go O-line. I can
Peter
see
Stronsky.
it. Yeah, that would make sense. Goranowski. He's projected to be a right tackle, so that would be an interesting pick. But what if this is Jalen Carter, guys?
That's what I just said.
Oh yeah, you did. See,
man, goodness gracious!
Man,
Thanks for your shocking pick, Matt. Thanks for
I'm
listening to
sticking
me.
with Christian Gonzalez. That's my pick, Christian Gonzalez. But I mean, is there a guy that you could buy into the culture more? I mean, the dude comes from Georgia. He's got the nastiness in him.
That's what I'm saying.
Overhyped, lazy, not going to pan out. That sounds like a Raider.
Hey, whoa!
It matches up so well. That's what I'm saying. It's such a Raider
like
pick.
their last lazy pick, Jamarcus Russell. So.
Oh, but no, they got the lineman. Oh, Jesus, Leatherwood. Remember Leatherwood recently?
Oh yeah, Alex Leatherwood. That worked out for him.
And then they get like that defensive lineman Cullen or something like that. Remember they traded or they were at the top of the pick.
Will Levis is looking a little stressed in the green room. I don't know if you saw that there, Jeff. He's looking a little anxious.
Yeah, man. If he's not picked here, I don't know who gets him. He's got a ways to wait. I mean, Tennessee maybe.
I mean,
I think that's the next. Atlanta's not.
You want to go to Tennessee?
Would you want to go to Las Vegas?
No.
I wouldn't
That's
want
a whole other discussion whether the draft is what it should be, but you know that's okay. We'll go down that path another episode, boys.
Couple more quick comments in. A good buddy of ours, Mr. Ian McClintock, is coming in saying, "What's good? The draft has had a lot of chaos, which we're scratching our heads at some of these moves. We highlighted the Texans and how we weren't a huge fan of that. Another one about the jacket and glasses, man. You're killing it. You came to.
I appreciate
play,
that.
man.
No matter what's happening in the draft, Keith stole the show with the outfit.
I know, man.
There you go.
Like 3 trades and all these players, and it's like, no, the hat and the glasses, man.
Bro,
The only thing is missing is ZZ Top music.
Right? There you go.
Every girl is crazy about a sharp dress, man.
Yeah.
Pick us in, boys.
All right, here.
All right,
is he
man.
coming to the stage now?
No, he's taking his sweet time.
Okay, well, while our good buddy takes his sweet time, let's take this time to maybe talk about some of the other stuff that could be happening.
Can I take 5 seconds?
Go do it. Go for it.
That last comment that came in, I got to give a shout out to though. That last one that you said was about me, because that is someone important to me. That's my sis. So thank you, sis. I think this is the first time I've seen you on here, and here she is commenting for me. So, thanks for supporting me. Go ahead.
Here's Goodell, boys.
Oh, here we go. Let's go, Mr. Goodell.
Levis. Let's do it.
Kicker.
You guys are going to have this recorded later, and he's going to blow up, and I'm going to be looking like a complete idiot. I'm going to be rooting for it, and he's going to be the next. Oh, Tyree Wilson. That sucks.
Yeah, that's the one guy we didn't want to see there.
I didn't want to see Jalen Carter either. I'll be honest, man.
This dude just has so much size and length and explosiveness. It's like him and Max Crosby are going to be hard to block. We
I
still
agree.
can't block Max Crosby. We haven't been able to block him since that guy's gotten his contract because he kills us. I watch other
That's
games
fair.
of him, and it's like he's not even that good. And then he plays the Broncos, like he's the best player
Blows
I've ever
up.
watched.
Yep.
Same with
fair,
Josh
man.
Jacobs. Josh Jacobs won the rushing title last year because he runs for 250 on us every game.
Well, hey, this is reasons why we go out and we get McGlinchey. This is the
Yeah.
reason that Garrett Bowles could be possibly in his last year of his contract here. We could be looking at a left tackle, if not this year, certainly next year. So, there's a lot of things that these are the reasons we went out and we invested in that O-line. You want to talk about a guy that can pick up a stunt. That would be a Ben Powers, like nobody's business. So hey, they went ahead, they went out and got that defensive lineman, that edge guy that we'll have to defend against. Well, it's a good thing we went out and we solidified our O line because we may need it, boys.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
All
no,
right,
absolutely.
boys.
So
Let's hope Atlanta does not pick Bijan Robinson.
I'm going to go. I'm going a different direction with Atlanta here. I think this is where we see Christian Gonzalez go. I mean, it's a good fit for him. It's a great fit for him. They said they weren't interested in quarterback. Now, we can buy that as much as we want to. I mean, they did take Desmond Ridder. I think Ridder has some upside with the right system and coaching, of course. But I think this is if it's not Jalen, if it's not Gonzalez, it could be Carter. Does he just stay home in Georgia?
That would be hard to pass up if you're Atlanta to take a guy in your own backyard.
Interesting.
I just think it's got to be Gonzalez. I mean, he's probably, right now he's probably the second most talented player on the board behind Carter right now in terms of defense. But what do you guys think? Where's Atlanta going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go wild card here, guys. I'm gonna go since this draft has not gone what we expect.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, we lost Knoppers.
Oh, Mr. Knoppers.
There he is. Who you think's the wild card, Keith?
Yeah, you froze up.
I know. I'm freezing up over here. I'm trying to fix things. You guys got me right now?
Yeah, we got you. So who's your wild card?
Njigba.
Oh, interesting.
Going wide receiver. I think that's one of the most talented guys on the board still. And as crazy as this has been, Atlanta needs a wide receiver. Take him here. Take that top talent guy. Don't let the slide get to you. Don't take Jalen Carter just because you think he slid. Take the guy who you think is the best, and Njigba would be fantastic in this position, in my opinion.
There might be a possibility for a trade as well, if they are going for
a pick in already.
He's in.
Okay.
Pick is in.
Who you got, Mr. Knoppers? Who they taking?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Njigba.
What do you think, Matt? You got Christian Gonzalez?
I'm going to stay with Gonzalez. I think it just makes too much sense. I do think the JSN pick is an interesting way to look at it. They did invest high in Drake London last year. They do want to support Desmond Ridder. I mean, if you want to support Ridder, though, if this is an offense, if they do go offense, if you want to support Ridder, they're in a better pick than Bijan Robinson right now. But I don't think that's where they're going. I think they're going to go Christian Gonzalez. That's where I'm sticking.
What do you got, Jeff?
I think this will tell us a lot of whether or not they do believe in Desmond Ridder. I think if they do, I could see the wide receiver being a pick. If you think that guy can actually sling it, get him one more weapon, then you got him, Pitts, and London out there. That's a really formidable group. But I don't think they actually believe in Ridder. So I think they're going to get Christian Gonzalez.
Christian. Everybody should please rise if you can. We have the judge that just walked in the room, Judge Jody, saying, "What's up, boys?" at the bottom of the comment. What's up, Judge? How's it going, buddy?
Twitter ruined it for me.
Oh, of course. Man, you need to stay off the Twitter world, man.
I have the notification. Well, I keep it open just so I could try to look and see
Yeah.
If there's any trade compensation, get it in right away.
Yeah, I understand, man. I understand. I
Yeah,
understand
no,
where you're at.
unfortunately, I will say we've all struck out. Any takers on who it is?
Bijan.
I'm not going to comment yes or no, but let's give everybody a second chance. Where are we going? It's
Quarterback.
okay. So just to clarify, it's not Jalen Carter. It's not Gonzalez. It's not JSN. So Jeff's going with Bijan. Where are you going, Keith?
Bijan.
Oh boy, circle back around. I have no idea, man. This is throwing me for a loop, man. That's
Knoppers thinks
crazy.
it's Levis.
I'm gonna go. I'll go Skronowski.
Okay. I will say one of you is right, but I'm not going to tell you who. But while we wait for the Falcons pick to be announced, let's get to some of the other stories that are coming around. I kind of tried to hit on this when we were talking about the Raiders, which no one wants to talk about. But, we seen Lamar Jackson come in. He signed his contract right before the draft. There's been rumors coming around all day that that's not what only thing that Ravens fans should be happy about. We've seen Baltimore sniffing around with some receivers around Cortland Sutton, DeAndre Hopkins, Jerry Jeudy. Is that possibly one? We were talking JSN a minute ago. This has been deemed a really weak wide receiver class at the top. It doesn't really. You don't get your money until Jeff and I were talking this in text the other day. Just for the wide receiver class, you really don't make your money till the probably mid-second to early fourth of this wide receiver class. But do we see a receiver on the move today? And if it is, who's your bet? Or is everyone staying home?
I mean, I don't think DeAndre gets the first. I don't think Cortland gets the first. The only first round wide receiver I see that's available would be Jeudy, and I don't think Denver's trading him.
All right, Falcons getting ready to make their pick. It's coming in now. Drum roll.
We're about there, boys. Man, what a crazy draft this has just been, man. I just completely unpredictable. So
this pick is gonna make it even crazier. I'll say that.
So, all right, that
somebody
sounds like
got
it's
it right.
Will Levis.
Will Levis? No.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Bijan Robinson's not crazy. It sounds like it's Will Levis.
No, I know. You're not gonna say anything, and I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit.
Boy.
Oh, they got someone coming in to announce the pick. That's what's taking so long. I didn't see
Bijan. There you go. I don't think
Bijan.
that's that crazy.
I think it is because nobody really thought about it. Bijan he's been the player that's kind of slid all around the first round. The rule of thumb is what you don't take in the first round, and that's running back. So we've seen him as fall as late as in the mid-20s. We heard Philly really loves him at 10. So I would say it's a slight surprise. It just continues to buy into the narrative that this draft is nobody predicted right so far.
Dude, I was just wishfully thinking because I want him to fall, so Jahmyr Gibbs will fall. I didn't want him to be here. I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs to fall to 50 so Denver could trade up, but I don't think this is crazy. I think this is a good fit for them. He's the best player on the board by quite a bit, honestly. I think he was the best player on the board when we started the draft. I think he's the best player in the draft. It's just, like you said, running back scary. 5 years, I mean, that's just rookie contract. So for him, you get 5 years, you tag him twice, and that's probably his career.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were talking about the belief in Ritter prior to this with, two of you guys going JSN, wanting to support him. So does this pick of Bijan Robinson say, hey, we're going to roll with Ritter? I hate to keep using this. Are they going to go the Seattle mold? Are they going to give this kid a run game and ask him to make big plays when he just, when it comes available? I mean, similar mold. They got a big receiver in London. They got a wonderful tight end out there in Kyle Pitts. So does this pick support Ritter, or is this still to be determined situation? What do you think, Mr. Knoppers?
It looks like that we are going back to the olden days where it is all running back. The Broncos are going to do that. The Hawks are doing it, and if the Falcons are going to do it too, I think we will see more of it.
Breaking news: the Eagles have traded up to 9.
All right, this is Jalen Carter.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way you could go. It's got to be Carter. I mean, it fits Howie Roseman like a glove. I mean, this is his ideal pick. And now I don't think there's any other direction they could go. I
Yeah.
think they were waiting
Wide
to
receiver
see.
doesn't make sense. There's not a well, Jameer Gibbs, but you didn't need to trade up for him. They could probably get him with their second pick later on.
Christian Gonzalez.
I just don't. I don't think it.
But you re-signed Slay.
Yeah, and they have what's his name, Bradbury too, right?
Yeah, you got some good corners.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think there's any way
Carter.
go. I think it's got to be Carter. But real quick, going back to our question before we move on to the Eagles, I just wanted to get that out there that there's been a trade up. As soon as I get the compensation, I'll let you guys know. Real quick, I think you're the only one left to answer. Does the selection of Bijan Robinson just say, hey, we're going to buy into Ritter, we're going to believe into him, or do you still think this leaves the door open for them to maybe go another direction with it being a third-round pick for Mr. Ritter?
You speaking to me?
Yeah, you're the only one left.
I'm sorry. I was making sure. I didn't remember Jeff's answer, so I didn't want to just jump in and just be like, "Hey, this is me."
Jeff kind of answered the question before I asked the question.
That's true. That's true. No, I don't think it's a 100% get behind Ritter type of solution. You've brought a running back in who's supposed to be a top talent. You want to have him there for the next 5 years. You compare that with any quarterback and still have that. Now, I think they're actually going to get behind Ritter. They're going to try to give him every opportunity this year. But if that doesn't pan out and we start to see that fall apart and they're at the top of the heap and another quarterback comes around next year, I don't think they would hesitate to jump at the chance to go ahead and get him. So,
okay. So moving to the Eagles pick, we know where Jeff and I stand. Are you guys boarding the Jalen Carter train, or you guys got any other surprise that this could be?
Maybe they want another running back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'd have to trade up for Gibbs. I mean, he's been kind of slated late first, early second. I mean,
too high for a safety. I think you're right. I think it has to be Jalen Carter. So
yeah,
I think you had to trade up because Chicago would have taken him. So I think Chicago said, "Hey, we're taking the guy that you want. If you want him, you got to give us something for him."
See, I think I think someone else was trying to come up and snag him because I think Chicago knows who they want, and the Broncos kind of maybe have changed the initial direction. Maybe the Bears wanted to go. I think the Bears want an offensive lineman. I think Skoronski fits perfect there. We snatched McGlinchey from him. He's a good fit for that right there. I think they knew that their guy was on the board and they're gonna maximize. Now, what I want to know was what did Philly give up to move one pick? Because if somehow the Bears finagled out the Eagles late first, that's a win. If they end up with Skoronski and another first to pick, yeah.
I think Howie Roseman's a better GM than pretty much anybody. He's not going to get stolen from like that.
He's not going to get a fleeced.
I mean, he might have gave him a fourth.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's nothing. It's only a 4th round pick.
Yeah,
next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Next year. Wow.
That sounds right.
So this could be a good thing of Ryan Poles maybe working the phone line a little bit, saying, "Hey, I know we got your guy here. I got calls from somebody. What do you want to come up, move one spot, get your guy in Jalen Carter?"
I think that seems like fair. I think that seems like Chicago's calling the Eagles and saying, "Hey, if you want Carter, you got to trade for him. If not, we're going to take him." And the Eagles like, "Hey, we'll throw you a 4th and we'll take him." And the Chicago's no sweat off their back because they'll just drop back a pick and take whoever was second, which probably, you're right, is probably that Northwestern tackle.
I think it's got to be Skoronski there. It makes too much sense. Looking at their roster here it goes, Mr.
Here's Jalen Carter.
It's got to be Jalen Carter.
It is.
Yeah, it just made too much sense. Yeah. We know Roseman loves his interior defensive linemen. If he could have a team full of interior defensive linemen to play all 22 starting positions, offense and defense, he'd probably go that route.
And for Jalen Carter, this is the best place for him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to be around a bunch of pros like Fletcher Cox who knows what they're doing, who can help him develop his game and get over some of the immaturity that he's shown and being out of shape for his pro day and stuff like that. I think this is probably the best possible situation for his entire career is to go somewhere like Philadelphia.
Absolutely. It buys into their culture. It fits them perfect. He's gonna, like you just hit the nail on the head. He's got probably one of the best mentors, getting ready to coach him up in Fletcher Cox, a similar play style. I don't think there's any better fit for him. I think Philadelphia's licking their chops that he made it this far. I think they were worried they were going to have to trade up to 3 to get him, but hey, they remain patient, and here he is.
Yeah, biggest slide I think so far that we've seen. I mean, especially if you took it from the onset, where Jalen Carter was, prior to combine and pro days and some issues, rumored to maybe even be the first pick in the draft. So, big pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles, who one step away from being a Super Bowl champion. Now they get Jalen Carter to add into that mix. That could be lethal.
And not to kick Jalen
watch out
Carter
NFC
too bad
East.
either. Like we talked about his pro day and all that in his combine. It's like, he was in a bad situation with one of his friends and he lost a friend. So that can play. Like sometimes we think of these guys as machines.
Yeah.
This is a 20-year-old kid who lost a friend in a horrific car accident, and then he was expected to put on a performance for the rest of his career. And it's like, so I think maybe there's some of that too. Maybe it's some immaturity. Maybe it's just some dude, life hit you hard, and he needed some time to get up, and maybe this is a good thing for him. I don't want to bash the kid. I don't know him. I don't know his personality. So, heck, if you're starting at Georgia, you're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, yeah. They're just dudes everywhere for them. So, yeah, maybe that's just it could be that, and this would be a great situation for him. He couldn't ask for a better thing to happen. This is way better than going third. He's going to end up making way more money in his career because he went ninth.
Yeah, absolutely. Switching gears now over, unless you guys have any more Jalen Carter follow-up. I know we've been talking about it for a hot minute. Do you, Mr. Knoppers or you, Keith, have anything left to say on the pick from Jalen Carter here?
I'll take 2 seconds and just say,
you got it.
Well said, Coach. I appreciate that, Jeff. Giving us perspective. There's a lot of things going on in that kid's life. He's a young kid. He needs to be coached the right way, and he's probably in a great situation now.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears, Bears pick, I believe, either is in or is about to be in here shortly. I said I think it's Skornorski. I think they were valuing that right tackle position heavily. In free agency, we talked about McGlinchey, some other right tackle prospects that if it wasn't Skornorski, it could be Anton Harrison. It could be Darnell Wright if we're looking at right tackle. But Skornorski, to me, is the best right tackle on the board. Where's your guys' thoughts the Bears are going? Mr. Knoppers, we'll start with you if that's all right.
Yeah, they need to protect their quarterback, and that's what needs to happen. It's been bad for them for a while. So,
is there a name that's jumping off the board to you, or are you just thinking right tackle?
I think it might be a surprise right tackle that might fit them better than Swarovski.
Okay, absolutely. Who wants to go next, Jeff or Keith? Rock, paper, scissors. No, I'm just kidding.
Go right ahead, Jeff.
All right, I'll go. I would think, like I said, I think the Northwestern kid profiles as a guard. I don't think he's going to make it as a tackle. He's just too short arm. You can make up for a lot of things in the NFL, but you're playing tackle with short arms. You just can't survive when you've got guys like Tyree Wilson who's 6'6" and arms for
that's fair.
I just think you can't do it. And I think the Bears are probably going to say, you know what, let's just get the biggest, most athletic dude we can find, and that's Darnell Wright from Tennessee. I think you put him, he can play right tackle. You hope that eventually in the future you could kick him over to the left. But I think right now you've got a right tackle right now that could play tomorrow for them and be fine. But I do think he has traits that could get him to a left tackle. He's got length. He's got size, athleticism. I think it's Darnell Wright.
Man, yeah. There's lots of different ways you could go. You could go Skronowski, who I think is the easy pick. You kind of stole the second pick out of my mouth, but in Darnell Wright. Man, I'll just go Skronowski here. It just seems to make a lot of sense. I think that's where too many people are expecting him to go, and I'm not going to go against the grain this time. Hopefully, I get one right, guys.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
I'll go.
Sorry, go ahead. What's up?
Hit just the Skorowski. Is that it?
Skoronowski. I don't
Bro,
honestly. I'm just
that's
guessing.
a Chicago name right there. That sounds like a Chicago
It's
Bear.
perfect. I definitely think you could be onto something with Darnell Wright. He is probably one of the more athletic tackles in this. I mean, the other ones are coming in a little bit hefty. Skoronowski's large.
Yep.
Broderick Jones, who plays mostly on the left side. I mean, that could be an interesting pick. Do they want to start a Broderick Jones over on the right side, move him over to left later? I don't know, but I could definitely see where you said, you hit athleticism on the spot there. Darnell Wright's probably the most athletic. Outside of DeJuan Jones, maybe that dude's a freak. but I think
I just think at this point in the draft, they talk themselves into traits way more than they talk themselves into production.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Skoronsky.
Darnell Wright.
Is Darnell Wright? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go. They valued the athleticism right there. That's what it was.
Man. I'm telling you, you get in the first 5 picks, you're looking for traits and talent and production. This point in the draft, you're looking for traits, man. You're looking for dudes that you think, and every coach in the NFL thinks that they're going to make that guy the next, Trent Williams.
Right.
Which they're not. Trent Williams is great. No one's ever going to do what that dude does, but they're all going to think that they can do that.
Fair.
So we've seen one Georgia player slide in Carter. Are we about to see another one happen with Broderick Jones? Because, I mean, for a good portion, Paris Johnson and Broderick Jones for a good portion prior to the combine, they were battling out for that top spot. Do we see him slide?
It's going to be as we start going through some of these picks, it's going to be tougher and tougher to try to find landing spaces for him, a landing spot for him. So I think you have some legitimacy there. Plus, now with a few guys off the board, it starts devaluing that position. And those positions that haven't been picked, those guys are the cream of the crop. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes, man. It'll be interesting to see right now where the Tennessee Titans go. I think, in my opinion, too, this is the next best spot for Will Levis for quite some time, guys. I don't see another real good candidate. For quite a while. So, be interesting to see what happens here.
Washington wouldn't be a bad landing spot.
That's fair. That's still down to 16.
Just looking at the next guys, I'm seeing Detroit's not going to do it. Green Bay's not doing it.
Yeah. So we're talking about number 16.
We want to talk about a crazy draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was thinking that too.
I think Tennessee, man. Let's see. I think this has to be Levis, man. I don't know. I mean, they've already talked about wanting to let go of Tannehill, but you did just draft Malik Willis last year, who's the same guy. I mean, obviously Levis has more traits, but Malik Willis has just traits for days. So, I mean, are you really wanting to? I don't know.
Back it up with the same. Looks like pick is in, so we'll see what happens, guys.
Prior to the draft, there was some rumors that the Titans were sniffing around DeAndre Hopkins. We know the Packers are coming up. They've been tied to wide receivers. Is this where we see a JSN go? It's hard because, we look at the Titans and what do they do well? If this is not a quarterback, and I told you, I think Levis is sliding. I think we could see him have a Drew Lock type slide. I just think it pairs up too well. I don't know if he makes it to the second round because of that 5th-year option, but the traits are too similar for me. And I think, I just think we see him slide. I don't think this is him. Then you look at what the Titans have and what they do well. They run the ball well. Jamar Gibbs is not going to be a good fit here. Maybe if Bijan would have slid, they want to get out from Henry's contract. That would have made sense.
Unless they do trade Henry, maybe they take Gibbs and just move on from Henry.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. But we look at the other thing that they lost. They lost a great offensive lineman in Taylor Lewan.
Mm-hmm.
So could we see them go tackle here? We've seen them miss on offensive line, so it's iffy. But I do think this will be an offensive lineman. I want to say they go Broderick Jones, but I don't think he fits what they want to do well. Broderick's better in the pass game. I think this could be Skoronowski because of what you said earlier. He has versatility. He can go inside, outside, and they want to pound the rock, and there's not a running back here that can do it. And Tannehill's still their quarterback, so I'm gonna go back to back on Skoronowski. He should be off the board already.
And from what we see, this looks almost much better for Judy as well to stay with the Broncos. If one of the receivers would have been picked already, then he might have got traded still, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, with the real quick, just to hit on that, with the hesitancy with this wide receiver class, we were told that it was weak. Do we see a team get desperate and want to go for the sure thing in a Hopkins or a Judy? And do they start to say, hey, we're going to pay up for it? Does this increase the price? Because if they're sliding this far, is that going to increase the value? Because a first round JSN at 20 is not going to be as good as Jerry Judy for pick 20.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think it'll be like you said. Once that pick goes, I think it's gonna. There's only a few guys that each team likes. Maybe 1, 2 guys, 3 guys tops. So those 2 guys go. There could be some teams scrambling. It'll just be whether the compensation is right for whether it happens to be Arizona or Denver in order to make that trade happen.
Yeah. I'm going off the way here, boys. I think this is either Gonzalez or Kincaid.
Oh, Kincaid makes sense. I like that.
Kincaid would be a good
I think it's too early.
Kincaid
tight end already.
Kincaid has skyrocketed up the board. But so you're
too
going
early.
Okay, where are you going, Keith? Where are you going?
I think this is the spot for Will Levis. I think they need to think about where they're going after Tannehill. Tannehill has not been that great. It's a great opportunity to bring this guy in. I don't think you get to choose it at the number 11 pick all that often. I go with Will Levis.
Okay, and all right. Well, so we got 2 for Levis, correct?
Are you for Levis, Dutchie?
No, I'm for a wide receiver.
Oh, wide receiver. That's right. He did say wide receiver. My bad.
Who are you going with, Matt?
I'm gonna go with Skoronowski. I just think he's the best talent on the board. I think he provides them versatility, and it fits what they want to do. I mean, Northwestern it has been a run heavy team in the past. It's a pro style offense. I think he's gonna come in and he kind of fits what Vrabel's all about. He's got that. I mean, and Vrabel comes from the Patriots, man. Doesn't Skoronowski almost feel like a Patriots way name?
Yeah, true.
I mean, Cole Strange, Peter Skoronowski.
Gronkowski.
See, there it is. He's just going to go for the ski. Last time they got a ski, it worked for him.
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on Kincaid. I think they need offensive playmakers.
I don't think they're going to do.
Like I said, you got Malik Willis. What can he do that Will Levis, or what can Will Levis do that he can't? I mean, you're talking traits wise. That guy's got the traits.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just not.
I'm
not a big Malik fan. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I think Will Levis has better traits, better quality traits across the board. I think you just give him an extra 5 points, extra 10 points on just about anything over Malik. So that's just me. I think Malik was an experiment that is going to be wrong. So
it's the Skoronski. There you go, boys.
Good
pick. You got your guy off the board, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think he's outside of Pierce Johnson. He's the next best tackle. I like Wright, but he's the most athletic, one of the more athletic ones. But this he fits what they're about. I mean, if you're looking at, I don't know which broadcast you're watching right now, and I mean they compared him to Elijah Vera Tucker, tackle converted guard, similar to what you were saying earlier, out of USC a few years ago. The versatility is just a huge thing.
I honestly think this guy would be like one of the best guards drafted in a long time if they move him to guard. I think he's like, I can't think of the boy's name, Notre Dame kid that's playing for the Colts.
Oh, Nelson.
Yeah, I think he's on like just tape wise, and I think he can be that kind of a guard. I just don't see him at tackle. I don't think he can be a tackle in the NFL.
I think that's where they start him. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But they can prove that you can't do it because that's obviously a much more valuable position. But I just think the short arms, and that's going to kill him.
Yeah, we'll see where she goes.
From the coach that knows.
So where do you guys think Detroit is going?
I mean, they may have traded back and got the guy they had on their board all along in Gonzalez. I mean, they've been tied to cornerback. Maybe Witherspoon was their top corner that they had. They took a good eval of what was available on the board, and this is where they trade back, and they still get a top flight corner in Gonzalez. That's where I'm going.
Oh, Levis has that Aaron Rodgers look in his eyes. That boy knows he's in for a long night.
Yeah, he's gonna be there a minute. I don't know who takes him in the first round right now.
I hope New England does, just because I'm for chaos.
Yeah, let's let Belichick further.
I'm gonna echo what Matt's. I'm gonna echo. I'm gonna echo Matt and Jeff, I guess, in a little way. I'm gonna echo Matt and the fact that I think it could be Christian Gonzalez here, but I also think this is a good landing spot for Kincaid as well. So the last 2 picks that you guys have put up there, I think is a great spot here for Detroit as well.
I'd watch out for Nolan Smith here.
That's an interesting pick.
Pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson for Dan. That sounds like a Dan Campbell move.
Yeah.
That does.
I'll be right back, gentlemen.
All right.
What you got, Dutchie?
I have been miss every time, so
you're on par with the rest of us, brother.
I think they go offense.
Just that side of the ball.
We're just gonna go on one side of the ball completely. Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, boys. Wow. Pick
Jahmyr
12,
Gibbs, huh?
Yeah, they went Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
No, wow.
Wow, that was
ladies and gentlemen, man. Pairing up DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, that's a good compliment to DeAndre Swift too.
Yeah.
Way to ruin my hopeful draft night for the Broncos, which that he just doesn't get drafted.
I got one right.
It's definitely offense, man. What do you guys know about Jahmyr Gibbs? Who do y'all think his comp is? What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, great running back. Like you said, I don't know if I would have picked him this high. I haven't. I'll be 100% honest. I haven't looked at him enough to comp him out. But wow, I'm just surprised. Not only that the Detroit took a running back right here, not probably their biggest need across the board, but also Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, a guy that was not expected to be sniffing anywhere near this position. Man, 2023, what a surprising draft, gentlemen. Jeff, what would be your comp, real quick, though?
I think he's Alvin Kamara, to be honest with you. I think that's his closest fit. I think he's going to be used more as a weapon than anything. Like, you said, running back's not their greatest need, and I agree, but I don't think he's going to be a running back. I think he's going to be a slot receiver, a halfback. I think he's going to do everything. When you look at all the suspensions that they just had at the wide receiver room, you don't necessarily want to bring in a wide receiver because some of those guys are going to come back in 6 games. So you don't want to just continue to pour assets into the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
But I think this is a creative way to fill the gap. You get a guy that can go out into the slot, that can play that. He can come into the backfield. You can do jet sweeps to him. You can hand it to him. I don't think he's great inside the tackles, but he can do it. I think you can pitch the ball to him. So he's good in the receiving game. I think he's kind of an Alvin Kamara for them.
Yeah, I just saw the pick coming through. It's a good pick for them. I mean, it gives Goff another weapon. They did just lose. What's the kid's name? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Jamal Williams.
There you go. He gives them another weapon. I mean, I don't love it because they did just trade away Okuda, who was, I don't know if you can call him a bust yet, but I just think Gonzalez would have been another pick, and I'm surprised he's sliding even further than here. I just thought that would be the best pick.
Sure. Their offense was pretty prolific last year, and their defense was just awful. I thought they'd try to address that.
Yeah. I know a lot of Giants fans who are going to be mad because they really, really wanted Gibbs in New York.
I'm mad. I wanted him in Denver, so.
Yeah, it's crazy how much he skyrocketed up boards for sure.
Hey, you're in a 4-3. Do it, man. That's going to get some people interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
You guys want to who does Green Bay take from your sister there, Keith?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Let's let Keith take it. Let Keith take it. The pick is in already.
I think they do something they never did for Aaron Rodgers, and they go in Jigba right here, man, wide receiver. Get the guy that Aaron Rodgers was calling for years and years, man.
No, I mean that's not. I can see it happen. My brother's a Packers fan, so I have to apologize for him. But We had a conversation today, and he's like, they're gonna take Skornorski if he's there. They're gonna go offensive line. I told him you're foolish. I think they do go offensive line here. David Bakhtiari hasn't been able to stay healthy. We talked about a guy who maybe could switch over to the right side. I'm gonna say this is Broderick Jones. They're gonna do what Green Bay does best and not draft wide receivers.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you think they trust Jordan Love enough?
Well, Levis, you talked about chaos a minute ago, Jeff. This might be another chaos pick if they were to go Levis, but then they would have two big arm inaccurate quarterbacks.
Oh, I think they'd be all out there protesting if they did that. I think it's in Jigba. I think this is, first of all, I think Green Bay's kind of gotten sick of Aaron Rodgers. And I think Njigba's a good player, but I think this is a fun way for them to get a good player and kind of
little jab
Rodgers as he's on the way out.
Hey, there's only a few ways you can go ahead and you can compliment your quarterback, and you can either invest in that offensive line or you can make sure he has the weapons around him to. And Jigba is a fantastic weapon. I know that Aaron Rodgers has been calling for it. I know it might be a little bit of a jab as he's walking out the door, but it certainly makes sense especially for a quarterback like this.
Yeah, you can't expect Jordan Love to be successful with the receivers that they have. Aaron Rodgers wasn't successful with him. There's no way you can go into this year thinking that these guys are going to be good enough to elevate him, because that's absurd.
I do have another tinfoil theory here real quick. I just brought up their depth chart, and I forgot that they had lost their tight end. He's moved on. So Josiah DeGuara is their top tight end. Is this where we could see the first tight end come off? Maybe a Michael Mayer, or maybe Jordan Love's gonna need help. This isn't the same Aaron Rodgers offense. So is this where we maybe see a tight end? What do you think, Mr. Knoppers? Where are you at?
I'm not so sure if they'll trust too much in Jordan Love. So this might be the quarterback.
Man, that would just be insanity. I mean, at the same time, I just got done talking about how Will Levis is sliding and sliding and sliding. A lot of people thought he was maybe a top 5 talent, and here we are sitting at pick number 13. So
after drafting Jordan Love, and that's the whole reason Aaron Rodgers got upset for you to draft another quarterback before that guy even gets to start a season. Ooh, I think he'd be calling for some people's jobs after this year.
But it seems like a very, very Green Bay Packerish thing to do.
Ness, they went defensive end. That's very Green Bay Packers.
Who'd they go?
Offense. Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa.
Wow. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I mean, it fits what they do, though.
It is.
I mean, we know, it's a trenches pick. That's what they do. They build from inside out. I'm really shocked that they went Van Ness, though. I mean, I don't know if I love that. Their base 3-4. They got Kenny Clark. They got Preston Smith, Quay Walker. They've invested high lately in defensive line. So I don't know if I love this pick for them.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a top need right off the bat, but sometimes you just go out there and you're looking for that best player available, that guy you've drafted. We're picking near the top. Hopefully we're not picking here again. Do we have anybody that stands out? Van Ness is a fantastic talent. I just don't know. I don't get the pick though. I agree with you. I don't get the need. I'm not 100% in love with it either, Great talent. Might just have trouble getting it all on the field. So.
I mean, he's a mauler. I mean, there's no question the dude's tough. I mean, he's throwing bales of hay out in Iowa for sure. I don't know. I don't love it. I mean,
I think it's the wrong pick. I mean, this year is all about, can Jordan Love do it or not? Like, that's what this year. Like, you have to know this year, because his rookie contract's running out. Mm-hmm. You have to know if he can be a guy, and you didn't get him anything to help. I mean, I have to think they're going second-round guy here. But update that there's a trade. Pittsburgh's traded up with the New England Patriots to take the 14th pick.
Wow.
Ooh. This is going to be interesting. We were talking. Go ahead, Keith.
I'll put out my quick prediction right now. Makes perfectly good sense. Joey Porter Jr.
Does make a lot of sense.
Oh, I mean, that's nostalgic.
It's everything. They need a cornerback. I know it's leapfrogging Gonzalez, but I mean, would they have any better information on a player than Joey Porter Jr.?
Man, I think
I
they
think
have
not.
to. As bad as they.
If they jumped this high to get Joey Porter Jr., I don't love it. They only traded let me see. I'm hoping 17 and 120 is what they traded. So they didn't give up a bunch to get here.
We only moved up 3 spots. You know, it keeps you away from like the Commanders taking him, for instance. So
Yeah, but, I mean, how much
know.
for me, if you're in that situation, you have to say that Joey Porter Jr. is significantly better than Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can do that. If we're looking at it, though, Jets have been tied to offensive linemen. The Commanders have been tied to offensive linemen. Is this going to be – are they just jumping to get their pick before we see a possible run on linemen here? Well, in addition to that,
New England's been tied to corners.
Yeah,
Washington's been tied to corners.
It's got to be one or the other. And I think at this point, I don't think they expected Christian Gonzalez to be on the board. I don't think anyone did. As much as they may have that tied to Joey Porter, Christian Gonzalez is a better corner to me, and I think that's him.
Very well could be.
Real quick, let's wrap up our predictions, and we got a surprise guest coming in a little late, and I'll bring him in here in just a moment. So we're going Gonzalez. Where are you going at, Mr. Jeff? Real quick before they announce this.
I'm going tackle, either the kid out of Georgia or the kid out of Oklahoma.
You're going to go with the O-line. I mean, either way, we're going to see a run-on-one, I think. Mr. Knoppers, Where are we going?
Knoppers, what you got, buddy?
They might go for Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, what about you, Keith?
I'm sticking with it, man. I'm going Joey Porter Jr. right here, man.
Wonderful. All right. Now we bring in the all-honorable Mr. Judge Jody here. Coming in late. Oh, he had to match the fire that Keith is bringing with the glasses.
Oh, that's why he's late. He had to buy those glasses.
Oh man,
boxes of them because they give them to you at the games and stuff.
There you go. All right, we're in your honorable presence here, Mr. Judge Jody. Where's the Steelers going?
Joey Porter Jr.
Okay, you're doubling down on it.
All right, man. I thought I was gonna have to leave because the judge was here, man. But he's here supporting me, man. I like it, man. I got a man on my side now. It'll be interesting, man. Like I said, it could be that offensive line. It could be that. That defensive back.
If I talk myself out of the alignment, I'm going to be mad at myself.
we could also be. We were all talking about tight end just a little bit ago here. That's another possibility. If they really fell in love with a guy, they could be jumping up just to get him right here. I'm wondering when that starts to fall, guys. Tight end is a position in need for the Denver Broncos. So far, we haven't seen one come off the board. The longer this runs,
Georgia.
Wow!
I talked myself out of it.
You did, buddy.
I bought your Joey Porter Jr. hype.
Yeah, I went 2021. They drafted Harris. 2022, they drafted their quarterback. Makes sense in 23 to draft the left tackle to solidify the offensive line, especially as bad as they were up front last year. They were so bad. I mean, they needed the help.
Pick, man. It's a great pick for them. A top left tackle on the board, or well, you can debate who you think's better between him and Paris Johnson.
Yeah, but it is a good pick, and if you look at that front office of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they typically are this way, man. They make fantastic picks. There's a reason that organization is so well ran from a top down. Doesn't matter if we're talking about ownership to GM to coaches, where they sit year after year, being perennially in the playoff hunt. This is a team that does it right, and they probably got the pick right here as well. I don't think this is the wrong pick. I would just thought there was certainly a possibility that cornerback would start to run here, and Joey Porter Jr. is a name that I expect to go here pretty soon.
Yeah. I think this signified Pittsburgh was worried about the run on tackles getting ready to start, and they didn't want to wait and see what the scraps were going to be to get to them. So it's going to be interesting to see how does this shift what the next two teams do. Tackle was another position that, like I said, the Jets and Commanders were being tied to.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. So I guess we can shift focus towards the New York Jets, and everybody's favorite quarterback, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, has just arrived there. Yesterday? We know they gave up, I would say, a fair value for him. I wouldn't say it wasn't a bad trade for either party. I don't think anyone got fleeced unless Aaron Rodgers retires after 1 year. But he gave his word in his press conference that wasn't the case. Where do the Jets go, and do we see them pull Green Bay and take Will Levis here?
I think they will go after a wide receiver here, and they will do what the Packers didn't want to do.
Okay.
I think they go Kincaid.
Oh, that makes sense. What about you? Where are you going, Keith?
Man, I'm trying to find a fit that really makes sense for these guys at this position. I'd love to say that they need to go defensive lineman. I just don't know. I don't know where the best fit would be right now, man. I'm a little bit maybe like a Mozzie Smith. I don't know, man. It's just way too early for him.
It's way too early for him for me.
Yeah, boy, what do you think, Matt? I'm gonna defer to you.
You're gonna defer to me.
Yeah.
Pulling up their depth chart, I mean, we're looking at a reasonably stacked wide receiver room. We got Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Alan Lazard, Denzel Mims, McCole Hardman, our good old buddy Deontay Spencer. You'd switch over to tight end. They got Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzumoa. That's a pretty good set of weapons. We look at what's left on the board at tackle. I don't think that I don't think there's really a good spot for them here. We switch to their defense. Is this where we see Nolan Smith come out? We know that Robert Saleh is from San Fran. He likes his edge rushers. He likes to get creative with his defense. I think we could see this. I think this is going to be Nolan Smith.
I'm gonna go a completely different direction. I'm gonna go John Michael Schmidt here.
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, they did just sign Connor McGovern back.
Yeah, but how long term is that? And look how late he was brought back. This could be the guy that is solidified in front of Aaron Rodgers and who knows who else in the future. So they certainly need a center.
Could be another trade. This could be another trade down spot. Where are you at, Jeff?
I like the idea of Kincaid. I think they need to get something for Rodgers. I think they want to keep him happy. I don't think they'll go to a wide receiver again since they just drafted Wilson. But, I mean, honestly, the idea of pairing Sauce Gardner with Christian Gonzalez would be really hard to pass up.
I know.
And that would be scary.
I was just looking at that.
I think he's fallen
scary.
to 15. I mean, for me, that would be hard for me to give up. I think if I'm picking, I'm going Gonzalez, and then you just don't have to worry about your defense secondary for the next 5 years, and I think that's easy. But
Wow.
I don't know what they'll do. I could see Kincaid, and I could see him. I could also see him going Anton Harrison from OU and taking the tackle. But I guess I need to put in a pick. I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez because I just think that's the best pick for them.
Yeah, looking at, I tried to kick it into interior offensive line. I wasn't seeing anything there that would make sense as an upgrade there for them. Just looking at some other positions possibly. Could we see them go safety? Is this a Brian Branch maybe out of Alabama? I don't think that's a good fit. This Jets team is not a bad roster at all. I mean,
they were really close, man. They were really close last
year.
Yeah. Zach Wilson aside, and that's what they tried to go out and they tried to fix, and they very well may have. And hey, Aaron Rodgers is already out hinting very strongly that this is not a 1 year thing. Could be a multi-year thing. If that's the case, with the pieces they end up putting around now, with all the pieces they already have in place, the Jets could be very, very, very scary in the AFC East, especially now that the Patriots' reign seems like it's completely gone.
Yeah, I heard Aaron Rodgers has a really good relationship with Nathaniel Hackett, and the Denver probably should have tried to hire him to get Rodgers to come here.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a little, looks like a vote that wants to be held in the chat of whether we should get rid of Jeff after that comment. No, I'm just joking, Jeff. I'm just joking, man.
It is getting interesting. We're down to the wire. We're sitting at about a minute. No pick is in. No trade has been announced that I've seen so far.
Congratulating each other, so I don't know if that's a trade or a pick.
I mean, what is interesting, no wide receiver has come off the board. Is this a team that's maybe in that late 20s, Buffalo, Baltimore, saying, hey, we weren't expecting the top receiver to be on the board. What's it going to cost us to move up and grab him?
Just got the pick.
Okay, they went in. Okay.
Yeah, and I can see what you – and I just – at this point, if you got all the top wide receivers on the board, you're looking at the teams in front of you, I'd rather just wait it out.
I get you.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. I like Quentin Johnson a lot. To me, it's like I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is the best one, but I don't think it's by a significant margin that's worth me giving up other assets to have them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would say that the top three in Jigba, Addison, and Johnston, it's split in hairs in who you think is the top. I think it's gonna be more about fit.
Landing spot for Levis. What about Tampa Bay?
That would make sense. That would make. I mean,
yeah. Well, better.
It's not.
That's Washington, because Washington say whatever they want about Sam Howell. There's no way they think Sam Howell's going to be the guy.
I don't know. Rivera, when he says something about a quarterback, he usually sticks to it. I mean, we've seen how long he stayed committed to Cam after the 2015
how long Rivera's
the Panthers.
Wow. There you go.
That's going to be interesting.
But also, part of that is if they're actually for sale. I mean,
they were sold, weren't they? Didn't they go through with the 76ers? Harris bought them, right?
I didn't know if finalized.
Harris Group. Well, Harris Group is in final stages, I think. So.
Yeah, it's still in review. That's true.
So, I mean, heck, that could be the most Dan Snyder thing ever. Go ahead and draft a quarterback. That way your new owners can't come in and draft one next year.
Oh, that would be a Dan Snyder move.
They could get a kicker right here for that matter if they really wanted to, too. So.
I'd tank the boys. I'd burn it down. I'd trade it. Well, they declined Chase Young's fifth-year option, so they started out well.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy there, man.
I heard he didn't have a good punter either.
Hey, Michael Turk from Oklahoma, take him.
There you go. We don't want anybody that good, man.
Hey, he put up 225 25 times, so he's more than a punter. He can do some stuff.
There you go, man. And he's also on kickoffs as a gunner.
Double it up. Let him play quarterback for you. You're Washington. What's your better option?
Man, but getting back, guys, it has been a crazy, crazy, crazy draft, man. It's just been all over the place. I don't know if anybody. I mean, Vegas has got to be cleaning up right now, just cleaning up, man. It's insane, man. I'm excited to see what happens with the Jets. I think whatever they add is going to be a plus unless they go completely off the board. And then it's going to be really about what this Commanders pick is, because really their needs and our Denver Broncos needs, they align a lot, man. They align a lot.
The little kid is more animated than Goodell.
I don't think it's hard to be more animated than Goodell these days.
Yeah.
As they prep to make this decision, I'm sitting here looking at the ticker and I'm looking at teams, and we're talking. We were talking Will Levis a few moments ago. Tampa Bay showing up. Seattle's right behind them. Then there's a team sitting there. Does he go there? If he slides past there, is it a Drew Lock slide? Are we seeing him fall to the second round? What do you guys think?
I think somebody trades back into the first.
Yeah,
that fifth-year option. It's too valuable.
Yeah. Where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, man, I would agree. Wow. There you
They
go.
went edge.
Big.
They went
They went
edge.
edge.
Player.
Well,
Oh.
hey, Jeff just talked about it. What didn't happen? Chase Young didn't get his fifth-year option picked up. Now look what's happening. So that could play one hand right into the other, guys. Wow.
Yeah, what's interesting about the Chase Young and Montez Sweat, Washington's made them both available as of this morning. They're both they're listening to offers per reports of this morning.
For the Broncos, go get Chase Young.
What I mean at this point, what does it cost you? I mean,
They've already told you they don't want him, so it can't cost much.
I don't think it could be more than a second in a mid round maybe, and I'd be fine with that.
Well, boys, I got to get off and do some homework.
No,
That
well,
sounds
it was a
terrible.
pleasure.
Oh, it's fun. We got regional track meet coming up. We got to start setting up for it, so I got to get on and do some software stuff.
Okay.
Very good, man.
Hey,
Jeff-
thanks for having me, boys. If I get done later, I'll try to jump back in with you.
Jeff, if not, it was a fantastic pleasure having you here, man. Welcome to any of the shows that we have as far as I'm concerned. And thank you for joining in and giving us your knowledge, Coach. Appreciate it a ton.
Thanks for having me, guys. Y'all have a good draft, and let's hope the Broncos trade up and get us somebody.
There you go, man.
Amen. Amen. All righty. Well, we'll see you later, Coach.
This whole draft has to do with my shirt. Bad batch.
Bad batch. I wasn't sure if it's in Mad Batch or Bad Batch. I was trying to read it there. So either way, yeah, you're right, man. It's been a mad or bad. It's been kind of a crazy draft all the way up and down, guys. It's amazing. We've seen more trades than I've ever expected. To me, I just didn't think there was enough talent in this top end for people to be moving around like they have. But obviously, I was completely wrong. And this last one with Will McDonald, once again, just forces maybe things down the line as far as like a tight end position that might be available to the Broncos. A place that a lot of us have been talking about. Cornerback is another place that we've been talking about. They had an opportunity to take a guy there. The longer that these guys get pushed, the more opportunity there might be for a quality guy to come in. Offensive lineman, we haven't seen a big center really necessarily go as of yet either. So I'm excited for what's about ready to happen, and now we're going to be moving on, obviously, moving on from the Commanders and moving into the New England Patriots. So that's kind of wild.
Well, we got to determine who we got to put our predictions for the Commanders, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No,
I forgot.
I was like, wait a minute. I know the pick is in, but did we put our picks in?
Go ahead, Matt. Why don't you start us off, man?
Oh, I don't know. I'm struggling here. I thought this could be offensive tackle, but looking at the board, I just don't feel like, this is a good spot for an Anton Harrison. I don't think a DeJuan Jones is going to go right here. Could we see them kick it inside? I'm not confident in that. Osiris Torrance, Avila out of TCU. Those are some names to keep an eye on. But I think this is where we see a team finally take, Gonzalez off the board.
Or
I think
Kincaid.
I mean, tight ends is a reasonable guess too. But I'm going to it's time for Gonzalez to come off. We're talking a top 10 talent, the 7th rated player on the board for PFN. So, I mean, I just don't see how – if he falls in Detroit's lap and they ended up with Gibbs and Gonzalez, I don't even know how you could argue that the Lions may not have won the first. I mean, maybe argue the Cardinals because they picked up a ton for that, but Lions would be coming in at a close second.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Albert?
I think they might go tight end here and then get Kincaid.
Yeah, that's I think there's nothing wrong with going with a tight end, Kincaid, especially again if you had your eye on him to begin with. It certainly could be the pick here. I don't think they'd take a lot of guff from it. I think I'm going to go with Matt though. Gonzalez is just such a great talent. I'm really surprised we're talking about pick 16, and he is still on the board. He was expected to go top 10 for sure, almost without a doubt. So Washington could certainly pick up a great talent in picking up him. I think that's the reason that we got to go that way, and I'm happy because then that pushes Kincaid down the board and gets us a better possibility of getting a tight end that we would like, maybe late round 2 or late round 3.
And as it goes right now, this this might make it more attractable for the Broncos to trade Sutton in this case, if they want to climb up.
Agreed. I think we just need to start seeing some of those wide receivers go off the board. Once we see some of these, one or two of these names go off the board, I think it'll start heating up. I still think if we're lucky, where it's going to be a second rounder that we're going to end up picking up at the best for a Cortland Sutton. I think third has probably already been floated out there at least. So whether we want to do that or not, I'm not sure, but I think that's still where we sit, unless we start getting a run on wide receivers. And then that certainly will push up the value of a Cortland Sutton, in my opinion.
So do you think that any of these wide receivers that are here are better than Sutton?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say,
at the board.
I'd say the top three, you could argue, are at either equivalent or slightly better, depending on the skills. I mean, depending on the system they're in. They're more versatile. I mean, they can be used more. I mean, unfortunately, Cortland Sutton is somewhat. He doesn't have. He has a primary skill set, and that's what he's good at. He doesn't have the versatility. He doesn't got the speed to be like a DK Metcalf who can double down as being an inline guy as well as a red zone threat. He's kind of just a big target. I mean, he's like a Mike Williams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Commanders are getting ready to make their pick. Let's see who it is. I might be slightly late because I'm watching on a stream, so fans may already know. But it is cornerback Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. Forbes has been a late riser. A couple weeks ago, he's been sitting around late second, early third. He's got a skill set to him. He needs to put some weight on. He's definitely a little thinner than what I would like to see for a corner. I mean, corner's got to be able to step up and make those tackles, and I'm not sure if Forbes is ready to get, smacked in the mouth by a Dalvin Cook or anything like that. I'm just shocked that it's not Gonzalez or even Porter Jr. at this point.
Yeah.
Even Deontay Banks, I would have Forbes probably as like the fourth corner on the board.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to credit Rivera. If Rivera knows something well, it's defense. That might be one of his. So maybe he sees something in Forbes you and I don't.
He obviously does. He obviously does, because I'm just surprised this was probably the biggest jump that we've seen. Gonzalez was considered one of the top. Porter Jr. was probably considered in the top, if not the top. So once again, to leapfrog and to take this pick, a little out of the box by the Commanders, and we'll see if it pays off for them. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It'll be really interesting. So
yeah, I had Forbes as one target that the Broncos could select too.
Kind of getting back to what you were talking about earlier, Albert, though, I think once a couple of guys go off the board, in my opinion, once Jackson and Jigba goes off, and once Jalen Hyatt go off, those are guys that I think translate very similarly to what Cortland Sutton puts on the field. And if that's the type of receiver you're looking for and those guys are gone, that's when I think it kind of heats up. I don't think a Zay Flowers necessarily, or a Quentin Johnson or Johnston is an equivalent, I would say, to Cortland Sutton is comparatively. Cedric Tillman, yes, but now I think we're getting a little bit too far down in the weeds, or too far down.
Patriots pick is in, and they announced that I slightly missed it. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Keith.
No, go right ahead, man.
Cornerback Christian Gonzalez, Oregon, has finally come off the board, and I was looking at their depth chart. I was like, it's got to be corner, it's got to be receiver. Man, this Belichick's getting a dog. I mean,
yeah,
he's going to come in, he's going to fit in there, well. He's probably one of the most athletic corners. He may, you could even argue he may be the most athletic corner in this class. Man, he's going to go with a defensive guru. I don't know if you could find, if I'm Christian Gonzalez, while I hate the situation of what's going on offensively in New England, I couldn't be more happy to work with a defensive mind like Belichick.
Yeah, and be in that system and be surrounded by those players that they always seem to have in New England. Though the offense has fallen off, the defense has still remained steady. And Christian Gonzalez finally getting off the clock and going into a great situation, as Matt, you just put. So congratulations. I think it's well overdue, and might start a little bit of run on a cornerbacks now that we've seen a few go. So
Yeah, so it's going to be we seen the run of corners. We have Detroit coming up here. I mean, we were just talking corners. I think that this run can continue here. Joey Porter Jr.'s it would be a nice addition to what they have going on. They have Aaron Glenn. We interviewed actually Aaron Glenn for our head coaching position last go round. Unfortunately, 32nd ranked defense. They struggled that offense. They've added that playmaker there. Maybe this is where we see them come in. Could they go Nolan Smith, go at the edge? I just think at this point, when you see the run on corners, if you're not trading back for some additional assets, I would go corner here. If they go wide receiver, man, I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, I think it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Look what they did. They went out and got Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, completely off the board. You think you have DeAndre Swift. You think you have other holes. Maybe they're putting together all the pieces, all the parts on offense, trying to give as many weapons as possible. Wide receiver is certainly a possibility here. Regardless, tight end is another position that they could end up
Yeah,
getting
they
a little bit
traded
stronger
Hawkinson
at here.
in Minnesota.
So, here's another spot for your tight end to finally start coming off the board. Hey, guys, we're almost 2/3 of the way through the first round and yet to see one drop yet. So that position is starting to get pretty valuable as well.
So here you see the two tight ends from Iowa, Hawkinson and Noah Fant. Where are they now? Where did Hawkinson go to?
He's in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
They traded him to Minnesota.
So they didn't make it too long in their teams that drafted them.
No.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. It just shows the need that the Lions have, and without one taken off the board at this point, man, they're sitting pretty to take the best guy out there and add it to that mix. I mean, they've got the running back. They could certainly end up doing wide receiver, but tight end is another spot. Which way? How do you think they're going, Albert?
Tight end.
Tight end here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Kincaid? Is this where Kincaid starts?
Oh. What do you think, Albert? Is this so you're saying tight end? Is this Kincaid?
Kincaid.
Okay. I'm going to stick with Joey Porter Jr. I think they go defensively. They got to address it. Wide receiver does make sense for one reason. Jamison Williams was suspended for the violation of the gambling rules. So is this where we see a Jackson Smith and Jigba come off? I mean, they do got Amon St. Brown as well. I don't know. I could see it, but at some point you got to pay attention to your defense. I know they went Hutchinson last year, but Hutchinson can't do it alone. So I'm going to stick with Porter Jr.
Very good, man. Yeah, I mean, next best cornerback that's really sitting out there, in my opinion. Finally we see Christian Gonzalez leave. Joey Porter Jr. sitting out there. You're right. He does. That's someplace that they absolutely need. I was surprised by that Jahmyr Gibbs pick, and to pick that up leaves everything on the table, in my opinion, for the Lions here, including that wide receiver, including that tight end. If I had to choose, since my good friend Albert Mile High Dutchie down there already picked up Kincaid, I'll go the other side of it. I'll go in Jigba here. I think the wide receiver, again, St. Brown is fantastic, but when you have Jamison on the other side, who couldn't get on the field last year because of injury, now is out 6 games this year because of a gambling stint. At some point, you need to have a guy in place that you know is going to be able to fill that void, and Jigba could be that guy. And when and if Jamison comes back, or we expect him back, obviously, when Jamison comes back, man, talk about a triple threat across in your wide receiver room. It'd be amazing.
Absolutely.
And a very Lions thing to do. They used to love to take wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. So, kind of transitioning over to the next few picks while we wait for them to come out with the Lions picks. We got Tampa Bay coming up. We got Seattle coming up. Both potentially places that could be looking for a quarterback. Is this where we do see a Will Levis? Is this where we see a Hendon Hooker? Or do we see them go another direction? What's your thoughts, Keith?
Initial thoughts, I would say that we may have seen all the quarterbacks taken in the first round unless somebody trades up. That's my thought. I don't think we see another quarterback get taken unless someone trades up. I think these teams will look in other directions to solidify their team. I don't think they value Will Levis as high as some of these other positions. So
and maybe with the Buccaneers, this is where we might see Hendon Hooker go.
yeah, I mean that's against what I say. But if you think Hendon Hooker goes here, by all means, take Hendon Hooker. Will Levis is certainly a possibility. I just don't know. Again, we'll see what the Lions do. Tampa Bay will go on the clock, but they can go anywhere from O-line to safety to defensive line. There's a lot of needs on that team, not just trying to replace Tom Brady.
If Levis is already falling so far, then the teams must have picked up something that they don't like.
I'm telling you, I just got the Drew Lock vibe again. It's the big arm SEC quarterback who struggles with footwork, has difficult times reading, defense at times. I think this is the guy where we see the Drew Lock type slide, maybe mid second. And yeah, go ahead.
It's funny that's your comparison because my comparison when I first saw him was more of a Jay Cutler. So. That's funny.
I mean, he's got the attitude of a Jay Cutler at times.
He's got the attitude. He's got that arm
to him. Yeah.
There's a lot about Will Levis and Jay Cutler. I feel are the same. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Personality-wise, him and Drew are not on the same level at all.
No.
I'm just talking from a skill set. Goodell is making his way out to the thing. We're going to see what the Lions do here in a second. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. A lot of options in front of them. They could go a lot of different ways. Obviously, like I said, taking Jahmyr Gibbs just surprised me. I don't know what this pick could be. Don't know what it could be, and what. Do you want to announce what it could be there, buddy?
Man, we were not close. It is on the defense side of the ball. They are taking inside linebacker Jack Campbell out of Iowa.
Wow.
We were talking draft boards had him slip into the third. It's interesting here.
Campbell gets Campbell. Man, that's the headline in Detroit, man.
It is going to be that's an intriguing pick. I don't hate it. I mean, Campbell, as much as our buddy here a minute ago, Victor Munoz, we can go back and forth on Josie Joe for days.
Yeah.
He's coming from a linebacker factory. He's not going to be your coverage backer. He's going to be a pure run stuffer, but what he brings is a leadership, an asset. He's a culture setter. And with a defense that's struggling, what better position? Oftentimes we hear the inside linebackers, the quarterback of the defense. If this guy can bring that leadership mentality, be the green dot, and this guy can jumpstart a culture there, maybe that's the start of the defensive swing that they need.
Yeah. Wow.
Dang. Buccaneers wasted no time. Their pick's already in. So that was fast.
We'll have to get some. That's the fastest first-round pick I've seen.
I literally looked over it as
years.
So let's do offense or defense?
For the Buccaneers?
Yeah. I say offense.
I'm going to go offense, and I think it's either they're going to go with one of the tackles left on the board, or they could go interior offensive line. O'Cyrus Torrence is there out of Florida. This is a good one. John Michael Smith. Ryan Jensen, unfortunately, can't stay healthy. He's aging. I just don't think they can overlook. If this is not Will Levis, they got to go interior offensive line. I think O'Cyrus Torrence makes sense, unless they feel that Anton Harrison is a better fit, or is just Cody Mock is still out there. We've seen him kind of be all over the place. We know that Arians and Crew does things a little unorthodox, but I'm going to lock in. I'm going to say O'Cyrus Torrence, Florida, keep the Florida kid home.
Yeah, you're killing me, man. You just stole the name right out of my mouth, man. That's who I wanted. Wouldn't have been no debating. I think that's exactly why they ran to the.
It's not Will Levis. They just showed him in the green room again.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Osiris for me, man. I think that's the reason they ran up there. Probably the best, interior offensive lineman in my opinion, still left on the board. I know that they need help at center, but I think this guy's too good. I think that'd be a perfect fit down in Tampa Bay. So that's my thought. Start off that interior offensive lineman. Albert, what are your thoughts, man? How do you think Tampa Bay's going to go here, man?
No, I already said Hendon Hooker.
Oh, that's right. Man, that would be. Hey, explain Will Levis and his not so happy green room, I guess you could say, reaction. At the same time, Hendon Hooker. I want to talk about this. Hendon Hooker, if he wouldn't have been injured, where would he have been rated among these QBs? What is your opinion? Albert, do you think he would have been number one, number two overall?
I would say probably maybe the third quarterback in line.
Okay. Still behind Stroud and Bryce Young?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, where do you think he ends up
Um,
not injured?
Not injured. I think you're looking at that 2 or 3. I definitely think. However, Buccaneers pick is in, and we are not right. It is on the trenches. The defensive tackle, Kalijah Cansey, is the pick.
Wow.
I told Arians has always got something up his sleeve.
That's fair, man. This is a guy that wasn't expected until probably the end of this round, maybe beginning of the next round. So wow, a little bit of a jump up here. So
yeah, we have a couple of people coming in. Hooker's too old. Hooker's the next Teddy B, and I couldn't disagree with that more. Their skill sets are not the same. Hendon Hooker's definitely, I would say, more athletic, and he's got a better head on his shoulders than Teddy B did even coming out of college. The big issue with Hooker is going to be he's tall and lanky, and he's very thin. That's the big thing. You're going to have to worry about his durability at this point. Factor in the 25 is not old per se, but factoring that in, his frame, has he hit full maturity? It's likely, so that's where you have to become a little bit concerned. I think that's why you would see him. That's even if healthy. I think going back to what we talked about earlier, while he might be the second or third best talent, those features may have been what would cause a slide behind an Anthony Richardson, behind the CJ Stroud. So that's kind of where it is. I think talent wise, he could be as early as 2, but we would see him slide for those reasons. I think. Where are we going next?
yeah, it's amazing. NFL, where they end up picking on things, and a 25-year-old guy being old is just amazing to me. I understand exactly where you're coming from, Dave. You want this guy to be around for a decade, and if you start at 22 versus 25, that's a big difference at the end of their career. But man, I think you got some good years, and I'll disagree with Victor as well. Not just trying to be disagreeable, Victor, but I think that you have a better prospect in Hooker than you had in Teddy B. So, Albert, you were going to say something, bud?
Yeah, the Seahawks are on there, so
Seahawks on the clock, huh? Seahawks on the clock. If there's a Will Levis spot, this might be it, but I don't know if that's it.
This is where Njigba might go.
I think they I think they stay in the trenches here, or address that secondary, kind of what we talked about earlier, possibly. I think in this could be, if we're going with the Legion of Boom mentality, trying to relive the glory days, this could be a Brian Banks out of Alabama safety. We could be looking at, I'm trying to think who else could be here. If it's not a quarterback, I think it could be it's going to be like a Brian Banks.
I'm gonna disagree. I think I'm gonna go same route as
Branch.
Albert.
My bad.
Oh yeah, no,
Brian Branch.
I'm gonna go with Albert on here, and I think the wide receiver again. I think already addressing the defensive side of the ball. I think they go on the opposite side. They go on the offensive side of the ball. They try to get that talent. Everything that you look at as far as some of these guys that have been coming off again are just purely based upon some of the best quality talent. Obviously, when you talk about a guy like Emmanuel Forbes going, that was a big jump. But then Christian Gonzalez goes, off the wall talent. Jack Campbell, top of the pick as far as middle linebackers. Cansey, probably one of the premier guys at his position as well. Obviously, the Tampa Bay's like something there. I think they like something in Jigba. And what better pairing to put on the field, especially with DK Metcalf long term. So that's my pick.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a. Oh, go ahead, Albert.
And a different one. What about Kincaid here?
I was looking
Yeah.
into that. They got Noah Fant still, though. They got Will Dissly. They got Kobe Parkinson. I mean, I could see it, but I think they want to give Fant a chance to see what he's got. I don't think they're ready to close that.
If Kincaid is a blocking tight end, and they want to do the running game again,
it makes sense. No, I mean, I could definitely see it. Some other kind of interesting names just to throw around as I was going through, what's left out there. Looking at the interior offensive line, could this be where we see an Osiris Torrance, a Steve Avila, maybe a John Michael Schmitz? Going to the defensive side, we have a couple of edges that are sliding here. Miles Murphy, Nolan Smith, Isaiah Foskey, they're sliding. Kicking it back interior, the number 1 rated defensive tackle is still on the board, and Brian Breeze. So I mean, I could definitely see a couple different ways they could go.
Agreed.
Maybe they're sitting here at 2 minutes and they haven't made a pick. So is there a trade maybe brewing here? We'll have to see.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity to get in front of somebody like the Chargers, who definitely have needs at wide receiver, definitely have needs at tight end. If someone was wanting to leapfrog the Chargers for one of those positions, maybe not as big of a need for the Seattle. They could pick up some picks here. Yeah, trade could be possible, but man, I love the idea of, like I said, DK Metcalf and Jigba. Long term, you're setting up whoever the quarterback is for success. I don't think it's Will Dissly though. Or not Will Dissly, but Will Levis.
Yeah, I mean, you could be looking at a guy who plays similar to what they've had in Geno Smith, Hendon Hooker. He's drawn some, Geno Smith comparisons. It's a passing of the torch, but at the same time, you don't want to sit a 25-year-old quarterback. You're not going to want to. You're going to want to see what he's got right away. So I don't think it could be a Hooker. I'm struggling on where to go with this one. If I'm going to throw out a pick right now in my prediction, just the way it's going, I'm going to look at them taking an edge here. And I think they're going to go with Miles Murphy out of Clemson.
Oh, that would be good, man. That's a good pick, man. There's an edge that's been, you talk about a guy who's been flying up the boards. Miles Murphy has been flying up the boards. That's a good pick, bud.
Yeah, he was the number 1 rated. He was number 1 rated at he's the number 1 rated edge left, a 12th rated prospect on PFN. So he's definitely had a slide.
Yes. Yep. 100%, man. Good call. We're gonna find out here pretty soon, man.
Pick is finally in now. Just now, literally seconds ago.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Walking up, we'll find out what Seattle does here. Obviously, they have the opportunity to go big with their first pick at number 5. This is kind of a secondary pick here in the first round. Kind of a little bit of a bonus pick. We'll see what they end up adding to the stable, I guess you could say. So
yeah. While we're waiting for Seattle to make their pick, Dave comes in with an interesting question, and I actually had this brought up to me on a text a minute ago. How can Denver get back into the late first to take Levis? And the question that was worded to me here in one of my in one of the group chats I'm in was, does maybe Sean Payton value Will Levis enough to move back up to get a guy like Levis? We did hear, speaking of our Broncos, while we wait for this, we have heard them being tied to quarterbacks early as the 3rd. Aiden O'Connell's been a name that's been thrown around. Sean Clifford for later in the draft. There was a rumor that there's 2 or 3 quarterbacks that Peyton has on his board. If Levis falls within striking distance, you get the 5th-year option. You don't have to bring him along right away. I don't know. I don't see it. I would hate it if they move up to get Levis.
It's going to take so much. It's going to take so much for the Broncos to get in the first. You're talking about trade.
Or does it just take Jerry Jeudy?
I don't think. I think if we would have been getting first round picks, honestly, for Jerry Jeudy around this range, we would have already probably considered it and traded him away. I
Yeah.
think the compensation would have already been there. I don't think with the way that the wide receivers have not gone off the board, I don't think there's a route to get there. I think the way to get all the way up into the first is going to cost you an arm and a leg, buddy.
It looks like David Slade is not a Russell fan.
No. And the Seahawks are getting ready to come out and do their pick now.
Wow.
Fans
Yeah.
might get it a few minutes before me. Almost, like I said, slightly delayed. So, I mean, it is definitely going to get interesting here. I think, like we said, all the teams that were possibly interested in a quarterback are now gone unless someone wants to trade back in and snag one. Just looking at what's up, maybe Minnesota would be the last-ditch effort in a team maybe looking to add a quarterback to sit behind Kirk Cousins. Maybe that's a potential for Levis. Minnesota's been tied to a couple different positions. Their board is not really falling in their favor. They were, maybe looking for a Dalvin Cook replacement. There's been some whispers Cook's on the trade block.
I guess I just look at, the unfortunate thing for Will Levis going down this board is there's either solutions in place or the people that don't have solutions in place necessarily, aka a top tier quarterback, they have other needs that they need to take care of. So I look at the Saints. Let's just go down the list. I mean, after we get Chargers taken care of, Baltimore taken care of, Vikings
Wide
probably have other
receiver.
needs.
It's a wide receiver. It is.
Njigba.
It is.
There we
Njigba.
go. I finally got one right. And that was kind of an out of the box thinking on that one, man. I like that. And Albert got it. Albert was the first one to name it, man. I shouldn't piggyback on his pick, man.
Yeah,
That's okay.
You're looking.
I can cheer.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
This could be the start of the run of the wide receivers here. Chargers have been tied to wide receivers, tight ends. Baltimore definitely has been tied to wide receivers. I mean, there was rumors they were looking in on Sutton. There was rumors looking in at Hopkins. This could be that start of that wide receiver run here.
I'm going to disagree. I think what we're going to start to see is we're going to start to see a run on our tight ends right here, man.
Okay.
This is a perfect opportunity. I mean, now you got every pick in front of you for the Los Angeles Chargers. They can bring in whatever tight end they want. Is it like a Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame that they really love? Is it a Luke Musgrave? Is it a Dalton Kincaid? I mean, there is it, I mean, you can go any direction you want, and I think adding a tight end to the stable behind Herbert, look out. I think that's the direction they're going to go if I had to go. And I'm going to say it's Mayer that they go with.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to go ahead, Albert.
So how are they doing on the depth on running backs? Because right now it's Eckler and
I'm bringing it up right now. Running back, we have, where is it? Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller out of Clemson. I would say it's not elite, but it's not terrible.
so they might even go after a running back, maybe.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Top running back on the board that's left currently, according to PFN, we have Charbonnet out of UCLA, O'Shane. They're both ranked significantly lower. Charbonnet's coming in at mid to late second. O'Shane right about the same part, late second, early third. That's kind of where they're sitting at right now. I think right now for me, I'm looking at Keenan Allen. He's getting up there. There's been some conversations that they could be looking to move away from him. You got Mike Williams on the other side, who when healthy is phenomenal. And that hurts me to say, but he can't stay healthy. Yeah. I'm looking at a guy like a Quentin Johnson here, who's kind of an in-between of a Keenan Allen and a Mike Williams. He's kind of got the big body, but he's still got he's agile enough to have the quick feet. I just think that at this point I wouldn't pass on him. I think this is where Johnston goes.
Yeah, 6'3", 208.
Yeah.
You're talking about like that big body that you're talking about. It's still a guy that he could even put on, 5 to 10 pounds if you wanted to just give a little bit more, a little bit more body and size down the field. But man, great prospect. Certainly could be the case. I just look at the wide receiver as maybe being a little bit deeper than the tight end class, especially if you're looking for somebody who can be, I don't know, your guy, I guess you could say. And let's face it, the Chargers have always had great tight ends. I think this is a great spot for them to get it. Albert, where do you think they're going?
Yeah, I think they might surprise us, and then they might
Pick is
surprise us.
in.
I say running back.
You're gonna go running back. An interesting way to go there would just be to go right down the street to UCLA, pick up Charbonnet. Here's a guy that's just an absolute bruiser, got great vision. Eckler's wanting out. He doesn't like the way the negotiations have went. This would be a fantastic replacement. Get a guy in that's young. Get him on that 5-year contract. Man, I'd like that as well, man. I think any three of our ideas would be a great pick here. Could be that wide receiver, could be that running back, could be that tight end. They have other needs all the way across the board, though, too. So it could be a surprise that none of us are looking at. But again, this is one of those picks, guys. These are our AFC West rivals. Means a ton right here, guys. See who we're going to be going up against. Excited to see who this is going to be, or not excited, but maybe also nervous. Maybe excited if it happens to be a complete flop that we didn't see coming. So,
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Goodell to announce it here. I could be ruthless and go to Twitter and beat out the draft, but I don't want to spoil picks for anyone who's maybe watching the delayed stream.
I appreciate that, man. Yep, exactly. We'll allow for the Goodell saunter to hit the stage here.
Yeah. Like I said, I think just looking at the Chargers and looking at what they're about, they got Herbert. They need to surround him with as many weapons as possible. We're looking at defense. Defenses are stacked in the AFC West in general. Broncos are solid. Raiders are working on it. Kansas City, I mean, it's good enough to be in the top half of the league. I mean, of course, they don't play themselves, but Chargers are right there defensively with Denver. I mean, in terms of talent on paper. I just think that if you want to be competitive, you got to give that young quarterback as much as you can. And Mr. Goodell's coming up right now to announce the pick. So let's give him a moment of, silence for this.
I don't know. If it's the same silence that he typically gets, I could start the boo cheers.
Wide receiver, Quentin Johnston, TCU.
Look at that guy, man.
Yeah, I just don't know. That might be one of the best picks in the draft right now. And I hate to say that because it's the dang Chargers. Yeah. But that may be one of the best picks of the draft. Johnston's my number one receiver. I mean, the dude is electric. I mean, we've seen what he could do out at TCU. He's just the best of both worlds. I mean, the dude's just nasty. I'm not looking forward to this now. I was really hoping it wasn't going to be him.
Well, let me ask you this, transitioning right to who we are, especially as a Broncos podcast, and obviously that's who we one of the teams that we support, obviously Colorado teams. Does this put the need for cornerback any higher for the Broncos now as we head into these into our draft picks? Yes, we have PS2. Yes, we have Damari Mathis. But we don't have a whole lot of depth at that position, something that a lot of people have been talking about. Does this ratchet up that need a little bit?
Yes and no. I mean, I think...
No?
Go ahead, Albert.
Okay. I would say the need of a safety would be a higher priority.
I don't agree with that part. I think PJ Locke, Caden Stearns, there's been some rumors of K-Jax coming back. Safety's up there, but I do think corner tops that. Damari Mathis was inconsistent. We've seen him struggle early on. I mean, what was it, 4 or 5 penalties in one game when he first started?
First game, come on.
I know, I get that. I know, I get that. But I mean, it's going to come with that inexperience. He was put in a position that it's still going to be new to him. I mean, he's a I just don't know if he's ready to fill those shoes. But at the same time, are you gonna by the time we get to where we're at, we just seen, what does the corner market look like? Do we see? I mean, we're not seeing corners come flying off the board as of right now. I mean, Joey Porter's still there. We've seen a couple come off, but I mean, I don't know. Forbes is already gone. That was the guy that was going to be tossed around in that area. I mean, Eli Ricks possibly, but eventually there's going to be a run on corners. Just determines going to be when is it going to be.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Doesn't change your need. Doesn't change your need. Like I was saying, man, all of a sudden these guys start stacking up. You start getting wide receivers like the Chargers just picked up, man.
Yeah.
I just get a little bit nervous about. I have no problem with Mathis. I think he played fantastic. I think he solidified himself, especially when you had to play across from PS2. Did phenomenal. Have no problem with his first game. My concern is what's behind PS2, what's behind Damari Mathis. Heaven forbid, and we need a run of luck like nobody else. We need to get off this train we've been on as far as injuries. But if one of those guys gets injured, who's backing them up? And I don't like the names that I see on this roster. At some point, I think we need to add a cornerback. Hopefully they last out to where we can get one that's of quality and can help fill, especially if one of these guys happen to go down. But when we start seeing wide receivers like the Chargers just put up, that's a little scary, guys.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's just one thing. I hope that the Broncos and George Payton, Sean Payton, I mean, they're in a way better headspace than any of us for sure. But you don't want to draft. You don't want to make a need because you're drafting off of something that somebody else did. You got to stay true to your board. You got to take who you have on. You got to stay true to who you are and what that identity is. And it's about taking the best player, not necessarily at a position of need, but at a position of impact. And I just hope that if a corner is in that round, then I hope that's where they go. Even with this, I still feel that I don't know if the talent will match the value as early as 67 and 68. Like I said, maybe an Eli Ricks slides. There is some talent later in the draft, and we've heard some of their names being kind of tossed around. Jacorian Bennett over out of Maryland. You got Garrett Williams out of Syracuse, and those guys are kind of that bigger body outside guys, and that may be a better fit for the value, in seeing what they have. I mean, Tariq Woolen showed that you can find a cornerback in the mid to late round. So
anything is possible. Hey, I don't know where Baltimore is as far as being on the clock. I mean, as far as being the pick.
We're still waiting.
All right. Any thoughts? I'll start with Albert. What are your thoughts? Now that Jackson has been signed, going to go corner here? Anybody in particular?
I'm going for quarterback.
Oh no! Come on, they just got Lamar Jackson to a 5-year monster deal. There's no way they're going quarterback.
Oh, I think they go quarterback.
Oh wow, man, that would be wild, man. That would be wild. Mm-hmm. Matt, where you think you're going, man?
I think we continue the run on wide receivers. I mean, they've been, like I said, they've been tied to DeAndre Hopkins. They've been tied to Judy Cortland Sutton. It is getting close to here. The wide receivers have started to slide off. We know tight end's not a huge need for them. I don't know who I want to go with though. I'm struggling here because Addison is a good fit. Zay Flowers, he's going to be your small speed guy. That didn't work out so well for Baltimore with Hollywood Brown. I'm gonna stick with my gut. I think this is Jordan Addison, wide receiver USC.
Great. Yeah, and you already put the name out there that I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Zay Flowers, Boston College. I think they do go back to that speed. Someone to take the top off. Someone to open up the field a little bit for Lamar Jackson, who's now just been signed. Albert, is there a name as far as quarterback that you want to put out there for the Baltimore Ravens?
So Levis is because he dropped so far, he might be an inexpensive pickup now.
There you go, man. I think if I would hope that someone would be interested in Baltimore would trade if there was a quarterback there.
Pick is in right now. Pick is in.
We'll wait for the Goodell Saunter.
I mean, another interesting name. No, I don't think we see them go interior offensive line here. They did lose Calais Campbell. Could this be
Yeah.
a Miles Murphy? Could this be a Brian Breeze? Maybe that's a direction they could go. Corner, do they dip into rivals territory and take Joey Porter Jr.? I mean,
Ooh,
that could be an interesting way to look
that
at
would be
it.
a good pickup. That would be a good pickup. I could see that one there, man. I could see Joey Porter Jr. Think about that with that Baltimore defense, man. What a match. That would be perfect. I love it, buddy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's not receiver, I don't think you can go past one of the Clemson kids. It's going to be in that realm.
Yep. I agree. I think we still get the wide receiver. I think that makes the most sense here. They've came around to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has been needing a wide receiver for a very long time. It's been missing. You know what I mean? They barely put the talent around him. So, man, I'm a Zay Flowers guy. I think that's the one that makes the most sense.
It's a wide receiver. Let's see who it is.
Yeah,
Waiting
wide
for it to come
receivers.
in.
David Slade said it's wide receiver here.
Zay
buddy.
Flowers, you got it. They went
There
with
you go,
speed.
bud. There you go. Makes sense, man. Like I said, great pairing for Baltimore here. Great pairing for Lamar Jackson. I think there's a little bit now where we need to keep Lamar Jackson happy. We've certainly put him in the unhappy camp long enough up until today. Zay Flowers is a great pick and a great pairing for Lamar Jackson. It'll be interesting to see
So
what they
do
do.
the anti-Green Bay.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly. That's funny. The anti-Green Bay. That said, man, where are we at? We're over to Minnesota.
We're in Minnesota.
All
Yep.
right, man. So Minnesota on the clock.
If there's going to be a sneaky team here that maybe quarterback wasn't on the board when they started the night, but with the way the board has fallen, this could be a sneaky spot for Will Levis. I mean, they do have what is it, O'Connell, as their head coach now. Coming over their offensive mind with McVay makes sense there. I mean, we could definitely something like that happen. They're kind of in a position where, interior offensive line, you look at it, they're pretty stacked. I mean, is this a place where maybe we see an Anton Harrison cornerback maybe makes a little bit of sense here? Maybe this could be a place where we see Joey Porter finally come off the board. So I'm going to go Joey Porter. That's going to be my pick here.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I guess you could see it. I mean, you're right though. Everything is not lining up perfect now as we come into this pick for the Minnesota Vikings. And I shouldn't say not perfect, but cornerback is a big need. Wide receivers a big need. We're starting to see some of those come off the board. I was looking to see if there is a defensive tackle that I really liked in this position. Obviously, Breeze possibly here, but I just don't like
Brees and Mozzie. But I mean,
I just don't know if I like the fit necessarily. Boy, I'm not sure which way to go here. Albert, what are you thinking, buddy? Any ideas here for the Vikings?
Yeah, the guy in the middle.
The guy in the middle?
Yeah, from the previous scene where the three guys were in. No, I think they will go wide receiver. They want to help
wide
Kurt
receiver.
Warner.
I'm starting to lean that way myself, man. Maybe this is the spot for
Addison.
For an Addison would be good.
Yeah.
Boy, who else could we see going to him? Maybe is it too early for a Jalen Hyatt? I know a lot of people were huge on Josh Downs as well. He was kind of trying to burn up the draft board. Here's a 5'9" guy, 171. So, yeah, I'm going to go Josh Downs, wide receiver, North Carolina.
Okay. I don't hate that. I mean, Josh Downs is I mean, he's been kind of hit and miss. Kind of a surprise name that we could possibly see it, but I think if we're going to go surprising wide receiver picks here, Rashee Rice, SMU.
Wow.
If we're gonna go with a surprising receiver, that could be a decent fit. We've heard John Mingo thrown around a lot, but I mean, these guys are looking at kind of where that I told you that cream of the crop is going to kind of start mid-second. That
Yep.
That's where their value's at. I think that they have just as much value as what we've seen come off the board so far, but they're not they don't got the flashy title behind their name. They're not coming off a national championship appearance. They're not coming from the USCs of the world. Um, they don't all have the elite speed of Zay Flowers, so
Right.
that would be an interesting pick. If they were to go interior, some other names we still have on the board: Brian Brees, Mozzie Smith, Keanu Benton. I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we'll see Smith or Benton come off the board tonight. This could be an interesting place to see what happens in terms of. I don't know. Smith could sneak in here, but
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with what I got. Joey Porter Jr. I they did show Will Levis smiling a little bit. No phone in his hand though. Is this maybe a trade and we just don't know it yet?
Wow, that'd be kind of crazy. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, pick is not in. Pick is not in.
Wow.
So
Taking some time, man. Taking some time.
251.
Certainly not like who was it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who came running up with their pick. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, the last couple of picks. I think teams are calling around, kind of gauging what it looks like to possibly see what it would cost to maybe come up and snag a Levis here to get the 5th-year option. But the team that's trading up right now is going to control the cards right now, because right now I think it's more of not who's going to trade up to beat me to get Levis, but that 5th-year option is really the only reason why they're moving up to get Will Levis. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. David Slade coming in saying Addison from USC ? It's got to be wide receiver to replace Thielen.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
I mean, it's definitely within the realm. They got to take the pressure off of Justin Jefferson. He can't do it all by himself. I mean, KJ Osborne has done all right, stepping in some places. They did trade some picks to get Jalen Reagor, a former first-round pick in the same draft class as Justin Jefferson. So, I mean, do they maybe value what they got there? Or do they feel that they can get a receiver of the same value of what they're getting now in the 2nd round? So it's going to be interesting. But Joey Porter Jr. right now, I think Miles Murphy, Brian Brees, they all have more value than what we see at wide receiver right now.
Yeah, that might be the case. I just think that they need to fill the void. I think they need to stay competitive on offense. That's where they've been. Losing Thielen, though he has been falling off in recent years, that's exactly the reason that you come in here and you replenish him. I think the production that you had out of Thielen just a couple of years ago is what brought you to the top. Is part of what brought you to the top, and you need to replace that. I think this is the spot to do it. I think that you better get it now, because as the wide receivers start to click off, you might not have an opportunity to get a quality talent like you see right now. Jordan Addison would be great. Josh Downs would be great. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Or they might surprise us with a tight end.
I mean, they do have Hawkinson.
100%.
I mean, but it's possible. Another just low-key looking at their depth chart right now. They did lose Eric Kendricks. They let him go for cap casualty. We did see an inside linebacker and Jack Campbell come off the board. Is this maybe where we see an inside linebacker come off, like a Trenton Simpson or maybe a Drew Sanders, who's been kind of labeled a tweener at some point out of Arkansas? So maybe is that where they go with it? Maybe not let it slide too far.
I mean, I like Drew Sanders. Again, I just don't know if that's the impact that they want and or need right here. I know that they're a strong front office and they'll probably put together a good pick, but man, I'd really like to see him go wide receiver. I would like to see him continue to put the pedal down on what's working the best. And I think wide receiver is the right move. I don't think that you can pick up the talent that you have right now later, and the talent that I see in the other positions that they have needs at is already starting to get a little bit mediocre, in my opinion. Go ahead and wait for later rounds and pick up somebody there. So
yeah, and I'm not sure where everyone's at in the stream right now, but I can tell you this without spoiling it: it is a wide receiver.
Yay!
See, we're not too bad over here on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. bringing you the best
There's
we
the run
possibly
on
can.
receivers.
It is, and I think it makes perfectly good sense, man. Perfectly good sense. So
Yeah.
Like-
You know, I want them to hurry up and announce it, but I just don't know where everyone's at in terms of where everyone streams at. But David Slade hits it on the the head here. We do know it is a receiver down. The window is getting shorter for Cousins. You got to support him with what you can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, they've made a huge investment in Kirk Cousins. Everyone talked about it for a while. You know, if you're Adam Thielen was one of the best in the league. Now all of a sudden he's kind of degraded over time, and he's off this team. You need to replenish that. It's the reason you bring a guy in like Kirk Cousins.
And it is
good
Mr. Jordan Addison.
There you go, Albert. Good job, buddy. Good call, man. Good call, man. Jordan Addison is. Hey, here's a guy who is considered maybe the top wide receiver at one point. So, man, for the Minnesota Vikings to add that to their stable of wide receivers, Kirk Cousins has no reason to complain as far as who he's thrown to. That's for dang sure.
I will be right back.
All right, boom.
Boom. Then there was two, man, and I was just about thinking about saying I'll be right back. But I won't leave you, buddy.
Oh no, hey, you haven't taken a break yet. I took a quick 30 seconds. If you got to go, you got to go. I can always love the limelight, you know.
Hey,
I'll go on the Drew Lock
I won't leave the viewers with just you, man. I promise you, viewers. I'm sorry. Unless it comes down to dire needs, I am not going to leave you with just Matt. I wouldn't wish that upon him, buddy. I mean, I'm just giving you a bad time, Matt.
No,
Great knowledge as always, man. It's been an interesting draft.
Yeah, I mean, we were expecting a run at some point, another positional run. This has been the most consistent positional run we've seen. We're going on, 4 receivers in a row now. Just to recap, Seahawks taking Ohio State's Jackson Smith and Jigba. TCU is Quentin Johnston's going to the Chargers. Ravens taking Boston College receiver Zay Flowers, and now the Vikings taking USC wide receiver Jordan Addison. We're going to have to see. I think this is where we finally see a run end. Jacksonville did just get Calvin Ridley. They've got some money paid to some other receivers. And Dave's coming in with the comment of the I don't know how to take this.
What do we got?
I'll let you read it. He doesn't take breaks, no days off.
Yeah, but I got the jug underneath the table. That's why I have to mute the mic every now and then. I don't want to hear that's not the stream you're coming in for, man. So appreciate you guys. Yeah, holding tight, drinking too much coffee, and holding it back so you're not stuck with Matt. But no, we're all good, man. Doing all right. So, boy. Right now,
we have breaking news, though. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
New York Football Giants have traded up to pick 24. They've traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars for one spot.
They move up a pick.
And they've let go of pick 160 and 240. So my question is does the wide receiver run continue?
100%.
Because Dallas could have been this could be a defensive move. We know Dallas has been being tied to wide receivers. We know they've been being tied to tight ends. Is this them playing defensive? Jacksonville's not really in need of a wide receiver. They're not in need of a tight end. They got Evan Ingram over there. They've got, a plethora of receivers. They got Calvin Ridley coming off a suspension. I think this is going to be a defensive move here. Now we have to determine, is this going to be a wide receiver or is this going to be the start of the tight end run right here?
No, this is 100% wide receiver, I think, right here, man. This makes perfectly good sense. This is a team that's been needing to add talent. They want to make sure that they get their guy. They don't want to leave it up to chance. I think wide receiver is where it's at, buddy. Where are you going?
Oh wait, and I did forget this. Giants did trade for Darren Waller.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
the often injured Darren Waller, but Darren Waller nonetheless, sir.
So you're right. This is definitely looking at the receiver. I think it's got to. I think it's got to be a receiver at this point.
Yeah. Now it just comes down to who do they love. Who do they love, man?
Right now, just a quick recap to give you an update who we got left on the board. I mean, I don't think they're in love with any of these defensive guys that are still sitting around. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. is getting more and more enticing, but I don't think it's there. I think this has got to be a wide receiver. Right now, we have Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman,
Yep.
and Rashee Rice lining up the next 5 on PFN. But see, the more I look at that list, I don't think them moving up the one. I don't think Dallas is like, I got to pound the table for any of those guys right now. I don't think so. So who are they jumping in front of? Who's got an eye on a receiver if that's the route they're going?
Yeah, it's tough to say, man. I mean, it's really confusing to me when teams move up one pick, right? You're taking the pick away from Jacksonville, sure, but who are like you said, who are they buffering against? Who else was trying to trade up with Jacksonville? I think is the biggest question. And I would just have to imagine that this is wide receiver, but maybe I'm wrong. It makes the most sense to me. This team needs a wide receiver. They need a wide receiver. The other thing I would say, John Michael Schmidt, they could use a center as well, man.
Yeah,
They could absolutely use a center. So whether
they
they
could use interior line. I'm thinking, what if this is an Osiris Torrance here as well?
that's
After I'm
true.
look, I mean this could be a place where they're just playing safe. To say like, hey, we don't want anyone to come up and take the guy that we like.
Right.
Maybe or looking at their defensive line, they're stacked. Their linebackers, are they top of the line? No. They invested high in edge last year. I mean, we could be looking at a corner. Cordell Fly is their second corner right now. I think you could look to upgrade over that. I mean, could this be Joey? I think it's going to be. I'm going to go with either Joey Porter Jr. or Osiris Torrance. That's going to be my 2 right now.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that center position, man. They're in desperate need, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with center.
All right.
I think we got Albert back too, man. If we want
Oh,
to
I
jump in
didn't see him there. Bam! Albert is back.
Albert, welcome in, man. Giants trade up, man. They swap picks with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're trying to figure out what direction they're going. I'm going center, and
I got more breaking news too.
oh my goodness, go ahead, man.
The Bills have traded up with Jacksonville.
Instead of the
Yeah, no, Giants traded with Jacksonville first. Then now Jacksonville has moved back again.
Again, they've moved back. Wow.
Giant selections coming in right now. Goodell's at the podium.
It's gonna be a wide receiver.
It looks like. Let's see. I'm a little bit ahead. And it is coming in. Let's see. I don't know. He's talking for 30 minutes.
I'm still going John Michael Schmitz here, man. I think it's center.
Deontay Banks, cornerback,
Wow.
Maryland. So I was in the right realm with corner.
Yep.
I still cannot believe that Joey Porter has led this far. Like, I am shooketh.
Matt has been shooketh, and Keith is going to be breakething. So I'm going to step away for just a minute, gentlemen, and I'll be right back in. Okay?
Wonderful.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, that's surprising too.
Yeah.
Because there have been big discussions about wide receiver, but the best wide receivers are probably gone now. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, let's see. And we got Buffalo coming up on the charts now. They've been tied to wide receivers. I'm not sure that there is a wide receiver on the board that they like. I would say they felt they had to trade up to come and get.
But for trading up for Deontay Banks, that doesn't make sense either.
I mean, I do see that, there could be, that it just comes down to positional value right now, who they have high on their board. I mean, Deontay Banks had a first round grade. Right now, we don't have a receiver left on the board who has a first round grade. Just to review who we got, we have Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, and Cedric Tillman as the next 3 kind of names according to PFN who are on the board. This very, let's see, Tre'Davious White. This could be the run on corner here. Maybe this is where we finally see Joey Porter come off. Their second cornerback is going to be Dane Jackson. That's their other corner. So maybe this is where we see a corner come off again in Joey Porter.
This is where I see if Tillman drops into the second round, this is where the Broncos might trade up.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a heavy one on receivers. I don't think this will be a tight end. I think they're happy with what Dawson Knox provides. So I'm not seeing this being a tight end. Let's see, interior offensive line. I mean, this could be an Osiris Torrance. This could be a Steve Avila if they're looking at right guard. They did just get Mitch Morse from Kansas City for center, so I don't think it's a John Michael Smits. Defensive line, they're pretty stacked.
What about Nolan Smith here?
I mean, that wouldn't be bad. You're pairing him up with Von Miller. I mean, you never could have enough edge rushers, that's for sure. They do have. I mean, they're pretty set though. They have. Just looking at their edge, they got Greg Rousseau, who's a first-round pick. They got Boogie Basham, who's a second-round pick. They got Von Miller. They got Shaq Lawson, AJ Epinesa. You know what? I don't think they would. I mean, if you want to add another edge, go for it. But I mean, that's a competitive room right there.
Yeah, but Von Miller is lately a little bit injury prone.
Yeah.
So and having him behind Von Miller, learning from Von Miller, and then because Von has only one more year on the contract, maybe 2.
Yeah, I mean, it could be interesting to see where it goes. I'm gonna stick with my gut here. I think this is gonna be Joey Porter Jr.
Okay, well the pick is in.
Yeah, Goodell keeps taking his sweet time.
I will let you know when Goodell shows up for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's see. I mean, just looking at the roster, I mean, Dawson Knox isn't a bad tight end. I mean, could you look at an upgrade? I mean, I'm looking offensively where the positional value. I mean, right now, Dave brings up a good part here. Maybe tight end for Buffalo, but he highlights Knox as well. I just don't know what you would trade up in front of Dallas for. If I look at their depth chart, tight ends in need, wide receivers, not necessarily an immediate need, but tight end, wide receiver, corner, all would make sense of positions you would jump in front of Dallas for.
And Kyle has had already many costume changes. Kyle Brandt.
I mean, winner, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So are you watching it on NFL?
I'm watching on NFL, yeah. I just have it up on my little stream here. Trying to see if anything else exciting happens here. I know we're getting ready to come to the close of the first round here.
Yeah.
Pretty. It can't. This might be one of the faster moving first rounds we've seen. I mean, we're looking at about 3 hours. We'll probably be at about 3.5 by the time it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if every pick would last 10 minutes, it would be 310 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be a long time. All right.
So Dallas is picking next. So
yeah. I mean, looking at moving on to Dallas as we kind of wait for Goodell to come out here. Dallas is interesting because they have so many needs here. Tight end could be one. Wide receiver, they were dabbling in, but that was a little bit before the Brandon Cooks trade. They've had some issues with interior offensive line. So could they look at maybe an Osiris Torrance, an Avila, John Michael Smits, maybe.
Maybe even a running back.
I mean, yeah, there could be a running back. Pollard is coming off the injury. Elliott's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Could this be a running back here? All right, pick is coming in. Looks like Goodell's walking to the podium now, or they're highlighting something. But looking at Dallas, I just don't see how they don't go tight end here. They lost. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Dalton Schultz. He's not coming back. I just don't see how you could go outside of tight end and pending. Let's see. Oh, here comes the Bill selection right now. Tight end Dalton Kincaid. There
Right
it is.
here?
Yep. Bills take Dalton Kincaid.
That's a good pick.
Wow.
That's a good one for them.
That's a huge pickup. I mean, Kincaid, he's skyrocketed to the number one tight end. That's going to be interesting. Now, that definitely signals that they were worried that Dallas was going to take a tight end and they wanted their pick of the crop. Now, looking at Dallas and switching into it, I don't see how it's anything but a tight end at this point. You got a chance to have control of who you want. They got Stephon Gilmore, Trayvon Diggs, maybe a Brian Branch if you feel that you need an upgrade at strong safety. But with the way the board is playing out, running backs value is not there. I don't say that there's a wide receiver on the board that would come in and compete for starting reps right now. I think this has got to be tight end for Dallas, and I think it's Michael Mayer. I think it almost fits too perfect.
And Josh Allen is a really nice weapon again.
Oh, yeah, another one. They just keep adding and adding.
Yep. So the Bills are doing something good. They had it. They had it almost last year. I think they're probably now the one team that is need to be beat.
Yeah. So David Slade is correct here. That the Cowboys have not re-signed Dalton Schultz. They have lost him. He's not coming back. So I think that does really come down to tight end. I don't think you can look elsewhere for Dallas right now. And I think the Cowboys are looking at it right now. And while Kincaid is nice, I think Michael Mayer is a better fit for them, anyways, and what they're going to try to do. So, unless they get an itch for that athleticism, and this is a Darnell Washington for tight end, I just think this is Michael Mayer. I mean, if it's not a tight end, you got to look at interior offensive line. But they did just get Tyler Smith last year in the first round. I don't know if we see them go back into it. Is John Michael Smith's an immediate upgrade to Tyler Badaz? I don't know.
But it has to be a tight end that can block.
I think it's got to be a tight end. And if there's a tight end that can block, it's Michael Mayer. He's probably the most well-rounded. I mean, he's coming from Notre Dame. We know it's a run-heavy program, so he's been asked to block in the past, so we know that that's there. I just don't know if you can go another route. I mean, I think that makes sense. This could be a potential trade a trade down as well if someone wants to move up and try to snag one of these quarterbacks. Dallas has a pretty solid roster. If they feel comfortable enough to maybe move back and get a Charbonnet at the early part of the second round, maybe this is where we would see a trade happen. Maybe they feel confident that they can get a Mayer at the end of round 2. So maybe this is a potential trade down spot, but I don't think you could take Charbonnet here because Dave's asking running back depth could come here as well. I just don't think that there's a running back with positional value to come up and take this early right now. The two running backs that were going to come off the board have come off the board.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, because I have Sam Laporta maybe as a tight end for the Broncos in the third round.
Yeah, I do like the Laporta. He's not the best blocker, but I would say he's a slight improvement to what we have right now. The tight end that I'm hoping falls to the Broncos is Luke Musgrave, and I think he's coming off an injury, so that could be a good fit for Denver. He's another well-rounded tight end. But that could be a sneaky name to keep an eye on here if they do go tight end and they want more. It comes down to what they want. Do they want the well-rounded guys and maybe a Musgrave or a Mayer, or are they looking for a pure athlete and a guy like Darnell Washington if they do go tight end? Hey, Keith. Keith is
Hey.
back in.
I am back, man. Thanks for holding down the fort, guys. I see Dalton Kincaid right here, man. I don't know.
Kincaid. Oh, we have breaking news for you. Kincaid went to Buffalo.
Oh,
Buffalo, hot Dallas to come in and take Dalton Kincaid.
ooh, wow, man, that's insanity. Okay, man.
Yeah.
I guess I'm. Yeah, you step away for a few moments and look what happens.
So how many trades have we had? 6, 7 now?
Let's see here. Hold on.
Insanity. Wow, man. I would have not seen that coming, man.
Jerry Jones taking his sweet time here. We're under a minute and no pick is in.
I think that exactly what happened to them. They expected they would have Kincaid sitting there. I don't think they would have. I think that was their pick. I think they had it all lined up. I think they're scrambling at this point, man. That was a perfect lineup. With Schultz leaving, they had that obvious void. I think Kincaid is going to be a fantastic. I think he's going to be an All-Pro. I think he's going to be Pro Bowler. I think that obviously now he's up in Buffalo. That's certainly even a larger possibility. So, wow.
So my question is, how does the Broncos war room look like? Is it just Peyton and Patton?
Yeah, right. I can tell you one thing, a little of a jab that Peyton put out there. He said the one thing we won't be doing is watching Russell Wilson highlights. If you want to rewind last year, since we didn't have a pick very early, Hackett was asked what they'll be doing. He said, "We'll be watching Russell Wilson highlights." So, man, I tell you what, Sean Payton, man, just giving it to he is. I'm glad he's ours. I'm glad he's ours because, man, he serves up jabs. He's willing to bite back. He can be a straight up. He can really give it to you. I'll just leave it at that. I want to try to keep this PG. I don't know how far we want to go on this.
He can give a really good sting guy. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, he'll give you a stinger. It'll be one that you're wondering about. You're trying to walk off, trying to get that feeling back a little bit. Yeah, he'll give you a stinger. That's a good way to put it, buddy. I like that, man. Man, sweet time still happening with the Dallas Cowboys here, buddy?
No, the pick is in.
The pick is in. It's just Goodell that's now taking his sweet time. So
I think they need to put one of those rolling paths in there, what you see on the airports. Conveyor
that was
belt.
for development, Dave's saying that. You know, at some point, man, I mean, man, I could see if there's a guy that could fall in love with a Will Levis, it would be. Oh, are you kidding me? You don't think so? You don't think he likes that arm? You don't think he likes that physique?
I'm telling you, that's not the way they're going.
Gotcha. But I could also see Jerry Jones being the guy who did it.
It is defensive tackle Mozzie Smith out of Michigan.
Wow.
That shocks me. Yeah, that shocks me.
That's a big jump, man. I didn't expect him going this early, man.
I've seen him slip into the first round in some places. I mean, so I'm not like, oh my God, like jaw dropping, but I definitely didn't feel that this was going to be the place where we would see him go. I thought if they were going to go defense, it would have been surprisingly Joey Porter's still out here. So I thought maybe they could look at that route, but they did get Gilmore in the offseason. So.
Even the Dallas audience is shocked.
Yeah. They're like, wait, this guy? Who the heck is this guy? No.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see that they went in that direction. If they were, another place kind of looking at it is, we always have the term there's never enough edge rushers. What about a Miles Murphy? What about a Nolan Smith? I'm really surprised to see. And this is where it's going to get interesting because Broncos are going to have to make a choice here pretty soon. There is some quality edge rushers that are sliding back into this round. If they're sitting there tomorrow, early second, if you really love a Miles Murphy or a Nolan Smith, then you like those guys are going to be media impacts. Do we see them move up?
Or a Tipman.
Yeah.
The center.
right now, the way it's looking, these interior offensive linemen, they may make it to round 2, so which would be good for us because there's going to be some interior offensive linemen that could be there at pick 67, pick 68, or even later. I don't love center early for the Broncos, especially in the third. Even if it is a Titman, I feel like there's guys later in the draft. There's Olu out of Michigan. There's Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame. There's Achior out of Alabama. I mean, there's picks that I feel like there's not a huge downgrade in talent. And center, while we don't have a great center battle right now, I don't know if we consider it an immediate need. Center is like one of the positions to look for in the 6th round and hope you find a gem like you did with Matt Paradis all those years ago. So I'm not sold on a Broncos going early for an interior offensive line. But the Jaguars pick is in. They've said, fine, all right, we're done trading. Where do we think the Jags could be going, guys?
They're going edge. For a defensive end.
I can see it. What about you, Keith? What are you thinking?
Wow. Yeah, I think edge. We've already had like 4 edge rushers go off the board, man. I'm just.
I mean, they still got Brees out there. They still got
Murphy. Maybe Murphy goes here.
Nolan Smith.
I forgot about Nolan Smith. Yeah, Nolan Smith is a fantastic talent. He has to come off the board, I would say, in the first round. Everybody had him projected first round. This might be the spot for him. I'm gonna take a little bit more look.
I don't know. I'm looking at their defensive, their edge, and I don't know. Let me just read you their edge before you lock that in. They got Josh Allen, former first-round pick. They got Trayvon Walker, the first pick in last year's draft. Okay. They got Kayvon Chasion, another first-round pick. So, I mean, they got 3 first-round picks in that edge room there.
Yeah. Where do you think they're going, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm struggling. I don't think it could be a wide receiver. I just don't think that makes sense. They did lose, Jawan Taylor. Could they go tackle? I mean, Walker Little, I don't know. Do you feel like Anton Harrison's an upgrade over him? I don't know. Could this be a John Michael Schmitz for, center? I'm really struggling with this. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Cornerback makes a little bit of sense. They got their corners are Darius Williams. They brought in free agency. They got Trey Hendon, who they brought as a free agent a few years ago. Tyson Campbell, a 2nd-round pick from 2 years ago. Could this be Joey Porter Jr.? And that's where David Slade's thinking it's at.
I'm going to throw one out there. They're not very deep at offensive tackle. Is this way too early for Cody Mauch? People have said maybe he sneaks into the first round. Impressed a ton of people. He can play up and down that line. I know he's from a smaller school, but
and the NFL has him on the board there.
Okay. I will not spoil it. I had someone text it to me.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Damn Twitter people. They always got it ready for me. No, I'm kidding. I am shocked that this is the direction they went. We talked about it just a few moments ago. It is an offensive lineman. I'll give you that. And Goodell looks like he's getting ready to head out here in a second. So
very good.
Maybe not. He decided that he wasn't coming out.
Did he do the step back? What do you see?
No, like it went to the screen like he was gonna walk out, like they right before they do the selection, and then they panned off of the screen before anyone walked out.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah,
because if he was like 2 steps out and like kind of stepped back, I mean, I'd be a little bit worried about what the heck's going on at this point, man.
Yeah, so I am a little shocked by the direction they went. I mean, I could see it a little bit. We talked about it, but we'll let him announce the pick. Cincinnati. Let's jump to them while we wait.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they've been tied. Joe Mixon, has had his plethora of issues, and I believe he's a free agent anyways. Let me just double check because I don't remember, but I do believe he's a free agent now anyways. We took Pirine away, so that their running back room. Oh, so they do still have Joe Mixon. He's still on the board, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy. I mean, he's been in and out of the news for various legal stuff in the last few months. Could this be a Charbonnet just because it fits a need? And here we go. Goodell's getting ready to announce the surprise pick. Any last minute surprises here? Since I told
Well,
you
you
the
said we
lineup?
were talking about. I'll say it's Kronowski then, or not.
Oh no, Skrnowski's already gone.
I didn't mean Kronowski.
No,
I'm sorry, man.
Mob.
It is Anton Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah, I that's the name I said him in it, but I don't feel that he's like. Do you look at it and say this is an immediate upgrade over Walker Little? I don't know. I mean, and you did just put a second round pick into Walker Little. What was it? 2 years ago.
I think it was 2. Yeah.
I mean, do they think that maybe one of these guys could kick in and maybe play guard? I mean, Harrison's a big man. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting pick. I could see, why it works, but I don't love the pick for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'4", 312. So I mean, he could kick inside. I mean, I could see him kick inside.
Yeah. Again, just not in love with the pick. Not over the top. Anything that was fantastic. I'm just not excited. I mean, honestly, he projects well, I guess you could say, as a tackle. I don't see him kicking inside. I mean, he's got pretty long arms, 34 and an eighth, 6'4", 315, big guy, man. Big guy. So,
probably as left tackle because that is what he plays the most last year.
yeah. So, sometimes you'll start him over at right, kick him over to left, give him a little bit easier start in the NFL in that way. Left tackle is by far the toughest position, the one that gets the most scrutiny. So I could see that as a possibility. But again, just not a guy that I was over the moon about. I didn't think he necessarily warranted maybe sneaking into this first round. So overall, though, Matt, what are your thoughts? You're the one who came up with the name, so.
I don't know. I don't love it. I mean, Jacksonville's a sneaky stacked team. If they can get Trevor Lawrence figured out and keep them going, I mean, defensively, I mean, we just listed off their pass rushers. I mean, that NASCAR package is nasty. They went out, they got Calvin Ridley. They went out and they spent money to get Christian Kirk last offseason. They got Zay Jones they got ETN at running back. I mean, they're not stacked. I mean, I guess it just came to the point to, maybe as much as we don't like it, it came down to who's the best player available on their board. And that could have just been the way it fell. So Cincinnati came in, they picked quick. They were in and out within a minute.
Okay.
Where are you guys thinking this could go? We had Dave come here saying maybe O-line, maybe safety. We were thinking maybe running back, but
maybe Joey Porter. Joey Porter here.
I mean, I don't hate it. They got Mike Hilton, Cam Taylor, Britt, excuse me, and Chidobe Awuzie there at corner. Offensive line, they went and put a bunch of money into it. They got Jonah Williams, Alex Kappa, Lale Collins. They went out and they got Orlando Brown Jr. from Kansas City. They're coming out quick to make this pick already. If I have to throw a last-ditch effort out there, I think this could be Michael Mayer.
That's Kincaid. That's who I'm saying. Kincaid.
Oh, Kincaid went to Buffalo.
Oh God, dang. I keep trying to put him in the mix.
Oh my goodness, Miles Murphy, edge, finally coming off.
There you go, buddy.
And I mean, at this point, if you're taking the best player available on your board, I could totally see why Miles Murphy would be the best player, available on your board. He's going to go in and pair well with two guys in Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. That's at this point you're making the best pay. Taking the BPA and that's a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, agreed.
So now it is New Orleans, and
we know where they're not going.
Quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. No, they invested well, I think, and honestly, I was always, hate to say this, being a Broncos fan, but I was always kind of a Derek Carr guy. Thought he got a raw deal, obviously, but that's what Josh McDaniels likes to do, especially to his quarterbacks, his starting quarterbacks. So Derek Carr, great pickup, got that spot probably solidified for the next few years, and You know, I still think this is a perfect spot for a tight end to come off the board for him, though. Um, Obviously, when you look at Derek Carr, he loves his tight ends.
Yep.
You know, who's going to be that guy that's going to get down the field? I don't know if they want to take a chance on Luke Musgrave just because of the injury at this point. I'm going to go Michael Mayer. He's probably the best all-around tight end. Go Michael Mayer from Notre Dame here. Go off the board and go to the Saints. That's my pick. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, might be to me, it might be an O-line guy. One on the O-line. Because they want to protect their car.
I
And
agree. I agree.
Their offensive
I wish
line
there was.
is stacked.
I wish there was. What's that?
I think their O line is pretty stacked. I mean, we got just to go through it. The weakest link is going to be their first round pick from last year, and that's Trevor Penning, the left tackle. But they got a first round pick in Andres Pete. They got Eric McCoy at center, Cesar Ruiz at right guard, another first round pick. Ryan Ramczyk, another first round pick at right tackle. That would be the one area, unless they feel that Osiris Torrance is an immediate upgrade over either a Pete or a Ruiz. I don't know if I could see them going offensive line right now.
Yeah, I just also, as you went down those names, I would also, especially as you started from about center over, start giving me how many years they've been in the league.
Yeah.
These are guys that, quite honestly, are starting to get near their end.
Pete's Bennett, it was drafted. He's the oldest first round pick in 2015, so that would be left guard. The next would be Ramczyk in 17. So
Okay.
I mean, fairly, Ramczyk
fairly young,
just,
but
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you're starting to look 7-9 years in the league. You know,
yeah. No, I can see it.
you know, I think they're itching for some replacements, and at some point they're going to have to let some of these guys go as well. It might be a cap move. I think there's room in the offensive line and solidifying. I just don't know if there's enough talent right now at this position, and I think that's where you're kind of getting at here. So.
Yeah, if we're looking at best player available, could we see this be a Brian Brees, maybe go interior defensive line? They did bring in Nathaniel Shepard over from the Giants. They did bring over Kalen Saunders, so two big free agent additions there. Looking at maybe an edge, they got Carl Granderson and Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan's getting up there in age.
Mm-hmm.
They do have, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Where is he at? I cannot think of the kid's name. But, this could be where we see another edge go. Maybe this is where Nolan Smith finally comes off the board.
It's true.
Pick still not in. We're looking about 3 minutes in, or
Wow.
3 minutes left. Wide receiver could be interesting because you never know what you get with Michael Thomas. That could be a slightly interesting pick there if they wanted to go wide receiver, but at the same point, the positional value is just not there right now.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, he's starting to get in. I'm not as familiar with maybe some of the needs that the Saints have. Not a team that I keep closer tabs on. I still think that tight end position is one that they can see value in. That they have a positional need that I know of. It just makes sense to me. When I start reaching for some of their other positions, offensive linemen, we've already seen runs there. Defensive linemen, we've already seen some, as far as top talent starting to go off the board, I think you still need to look at what the best quality talent, on your board is. And I think that might land in the tight end spot. I'm still going Mayer.
So this is the pick they got from the Broncos, right?
Correct.
For the trade for Sean Payton.
Yeah. It went through many hands. So from the 49ers through Miami, Dolphins, and the Denver Broncos, the Saints finally end up with it. So, yeah, it was many hands. So, but
pick is in. Let's see. I'm waiting for them to tell me who it is, though.
well, hey, that's all good. That's all good. I'm glad you're at least you're not too far ahead of us on the Twitter or the text line. You're looking over there like Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport over there, getting all the inside goods before any of the rest of us, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Broncos country, I'm sure appreciates it. And hey, just a big shout out to everybody who's out there tuning in today, watching the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, watching our faces as we've been rambling on about who we think, and half the time been wrong because it's been a crazy draft. But thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe, throw that thumbs up. We appreciate it. Hit that bell. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But more than anything, guys, thanks for sticking with us, and we're almost near the end, man.
Yeah,
We're here with
two
the
more
Saints.
picks. Yeah,
Just a
pick
few
is
more
coming in.
picks. Goodell's taking his
That's pretty.
time. The green room, I'm sure Will Levis is
Brian
has.
Brees, defensive tackle, Clemson.
There you go, man. There you
Yeah,
go.
like I was saying, at this point, you got to go with best player available on the board who fits, I guess, closest to a position of need. And uh, Brees was probably one of the only names that really made sense. Like, I don't know, I don't love it for them, but at this point, like you said, we're nearing the end of round one. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he fell. I mean, he's a top talent. Probably the best interior defensive lineman outside of Jalen Carter, but I don't know. I just don't love it for the Saints because I feel like they needed a
I,
splash, but there's not really a splash left, I guess you could say.
I think they did it because of a different reason. They were so used to the name Breeze that they needed another Breeze.
There you go,
They
buddy.
say-
There you go.
No.
Well, speaking of that, you said, hey, since Jalen Carter came off the board, this is probably the next best prospect. Well, now we fast forward. We're over here to the Eagles at the number 30 pick. Who took Mr. Jalen Carter? Man, what do you guys think here? I'm going to give you my name that I like right now.
Okay.
This would be a great place, I think, for Charbonnet to go. Charbonnet would solidify that running back position. They would have no doubt there. Here's a guy that can catch. He's downhill. He's a Philadelphia type of guy, in my opinion, man. I like Charbonnet here, especially like we said, best guy available. Who are you going to fit into this roster? It's tough for it's tough for first round picks to even get onto the field, as we saw from last year from Philadelphia. So I like Charbonnet here. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm struggling.
You're struggling because they don't have a whole lot of holes, man. So
Yeah, I know.
it really is BPA. Who do you think is the best player available? Who do you think is going to be able to come in and impact on this roster?
I'm gonna put a different look on it.
Okay.
They go for center. And
Oh.
John Michael Smith makes sense, but I mean, you don't typically take a depth position in the first round because we know John.
But depth for 1 year, bud. 1 year.
No, I get that. No, I'm with you.
I mean,
there.
you're
I get
talking
it.
about switching this guy out with sitting 1 year behind one of the best guys out there to do it, and you only got him for one more year. Man, I'm telling you, that's Albert. That would be a fantastic pickup here, man. When you're I understand it's not sexy, it's not hip, it's not as good looking as me tonight. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? Hey, I think it makes perfectly good sense. Albert, I love your idea.
Yeah, I
Love
mean,
it.
the other person that you could be looking at is, could you be looking at a right tackle? We do know that Lane Johnson is getting up there.
Yeah.
He is a right tackle. I mean, is there a guy
Who's left at right tackle that you like though?
I mean, we were talking about Cody Mock still maybe being out there, but I mean, you would have to really feel that he's. I mean, but at the same time, now you're talking depth in the same sentence. So I don't really love that either. I mean, could you be looking at going back to back Georgia picks here? Maybe Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham is getting older.
Yep.
Edge rushers do flesh out rotational. They're fleshing it out. That could make some sense there.
Mhm.
Man, that could be one part that I'm looking at. I don't think they'd go inside linebacker right now.
No.
corner. I mean, they signed Greedy Williams, and this.
Yeah, here's a team that's stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked, man. You got to figure out, again, high quality player who maybe has the best possibility of hitting the field, or Albert. I think you nailed it, man. You start looking at who you're going to lose next year, and if I could take John Michael Schmitz and put him underneath Kelsey for 1 year, and take one of the best centers in the league and plug him in next year, man, I think you're sitting in a beautiful position for Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, but Charbonnet is still going to be my pick. That's where I went with. I'll leave Albert with his fantastic pick.
Yeah, clock is clicking. They're clapping. There's not a pick in. Is this a trade? If this would be Philly does love to trade.
Oh yeah,
they love to stack their picks.
They have Philadelphia has 10 picks in this draft. Broncos country, we have 5. So man, if they're adding more,
could this be a place where we see a team like Los Angeles maybe want to slide back up in the first round? Matt Stafford, is on maybe on his way out. I mean, the dude's had a spinal contusion and all this craziness.
This is the perfect spot for a quarterback. Everyone that wants that 5-year option.
Year?
Yeah, that's
I mean, if they were to make a trade, could this be it right here?
If it's trade, I would almost guarantee. Oh well, I shouldn't say that. Tonight, I would give it. I went from almost saying I was gonna almost guarantee it if they trade it, it's going to be a quarterback, to now I'm going to say it's a good 30% chance.
Yeah, well, pick is in now. Pick is in.
So
we're going. So just to recap, we got John Michael Smith going center, and remind me who you went with.
Charbonnet.
I mean, just looking at best player available that's not a quarterback, Nolan Smith's the best player on the board. I mean, you drafted his buddy. You got Jalen Carter from last year out of UGA too. Maybe this is just maybe Philly's turning into Georgia. Let's just line up those championship winning defenses.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Nolan Smith. I think at this point he's the best player left on the board.
David Slade going in and saying Porter Jr.'s got to go right here, man. You're talking about that best player available, man. Porter Jr. is another one of those guys that certainly fits that bill, and you can never have enough corners, guys. You can never have enough corners. There's too many of them that can be on the field at any given point, and it seems like any of them can either fall off or get injured too. So having another guy is always great. Plus, great special teams guys. So I always love that Albert is always just in the comment board, just tee-heeing away, man. It's a staple of the Denver Bronco Roundup, too, for anybody who's just jumping in here for our show tonight. So I imagine, what we got David Slade saying? Anything I can pop up on the screen? Or
No, right now we're, if this is not a Porter Jr. here.
Yeah.
I don't see Kansas City taking a Porter Jr. Like, could Joey Porter seriously just have fallen into Pittsburgh's lap with them having the first pick tomorrow?
It's true, man. It's true.
Talk about Steelers. I mean, that would be a killer draft for them.
It would, man.
All right, Eagles pick is coming up here. They're bringing out the whole crew here. I don't know who it all is. I can't see.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It looks like is that Miss Kelsey right there? I think that might be Jason and Zach's mom. I can't see that well. I'm watching on a tiny screen.
Gotcha. No, it's all good, man. I'm just online tabs right now. I'm like one step away from just getting all of my information by telegraph almost. So, you guys are way ahead of me. Matt's all Twittering it up tonight. The crazy thing is I can't wait to get on these next few days, because, man, the research has been off the charts, guys. I've been taking notes, and like I said, most of my research is for what I expect the Broncos to have in front of me. Luckily, I can't say, as I'm going through these picks, was there anybody that I absolutely thought would jump down and be available to the Broncos that was taken early? And the answer is no. I don't think there was anybody taken in the first round that I thought, hey, this guy's going to slip, he's going to fall, he's going to come all the way into even a spot where the Broncos could trade up reasonably and pick them up. I think all these guys were expected to go, and I think especially guys as we start to think about wrapping up, think about the guys that are still available. We only have one really round until it comes to us, so it's going to come up quick, and I think there's a lot of talent left, and this is what I was predicting. I think we'll be sitting pretty, might even use both picks.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is you look at it and you have some interior offensive linemen that are still sticking around. Osiris Torrance, Avila, Michael Schmitz. Like those are guys that if you are going to make a move on an interior offensive lineman, that's it.
The pick is in. Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith, very good.
At this point, I think it just makes the most sense. You have to go with the best player on your board, and he was the best. I mean, Philly's stacked, man. You just go with the best. You throw a dart at your top three if you're Philly right now. Yeah, but I mean, they be going to Georgia nonstop. It's like, like I said, they got Jalen Carter last year. They got Jordan Davis last year. Jalen Carter today. We're back getting Nolan Smith. Might as well just sign up the pipeline there.
And how much did even Jordan Davis get on the field? And he was still a top prospect. That's just it. I mean, these guys are so stacked they can't get first-round draft picks on the field at this point. That's amazing. I'm
telling you, Philly's doing something right now.
Great front office, man. Great front office, and whenever you hit big on a rookie QB, you're doing well, man. You're doing well.
That Nolan Smith got in the first round because he missed the last 7 games. Due to an injury.
But he also was. I saw him as high as like mid-teens, if I remember right. Maybe even teasing near the top 10, if I remember correctly. I mean, there was people that were super, super high on Nolan Smith, man. Super high on Nolan Smith. So, yeah, I guess that's true. Especially with injuries, maybe still making it in the first round, but. Here we are, man. He's certainly there, and he lands in a great position. But now we're on to, guys, the last pick.
And I did forget a name that was being thrown around. Another Georgia name that I completely skipped over on defense from last year that the Eagles took. Nakobe Dean, inside linebacker.
Exactly. I mean, just stacked.
Is there a better team on paper right now than the Philadelphia Eagles? I don't think you could say there is.
No. And only 9 picks left in the draft this year, too. So, boo-hoo for them.
David says we should not cover the pick for Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, all right. Let's say goodnight, gentlemen.
No.
Let's hope they trade it. Let's hope they trade it.
Honestly, like I said, guys, this is what we look at, especially in a draft where we're not maybe picking to the 3rd round. Maybe we trade up into the 2nd. That's always been rumored. But here we are covering round 1. We got to see what our competition is doing. We've already seen what the Chargers have done. Added a beast at wide receiver. We've already seen what the Raiders have done. Now it's time for the Chiefs. Talking about a team that just seems to only add to the already stacked weapons that are on this team. This is a team that doesn't have a whole lot of needs, and could certainly go in just about any direction, guys. But what are you guys thinking as the Chiefs come up on the clock? I'll start with you, Matt. Why don't you take it away?
Can they pick nobody? Is that an option?
That would be beautiful, just to let the clock expire.
Yeah.
Been a while since we've seen
Kansas City. Unfortunately, they're another stacked team.
No, he might froze up.
Yeah,
I think I lost you for a second. Now I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yep.
I think we got you back, man. A lot of different ways they could go. Like you said, they're stacked. What do you got, bud?
They did lose Juju Smith-Schuster. However, they did, bring in Kadarius Toney last year. I could see this being, wide receiver, offensive line. Do they? Could this be a Cody Mock maybe here at right tackle? Lucas Niang, he's not the best. They did lose Orlando Brown, so could they go that direction?
I think they might pick up a cornerback here.
This could be Joey Porter Jr., and I would hate that.
Yeah, I would hate that too. Well, my first thought, I think I have to go back to a guy that I brought up a little bit earlier. I think Josh Downs makes sense here. Like you said, wide receiver is a place that maybe they do have a little bit of a need. Certainly, you have a head coach and a quarterback that might be pounding the table for somebody. Josh Downs is supposed to be one of the best in this draft, and I think that's the best direction for them to go. That would be my prediction here, adding that wide receiver to the wide receiver room since we've seen some departures as of lately, and even give more weapons to Patrick Mahomes.
An interesting name, I guess you could keep an eye on if they also wanted to go offensive line. DeJuan Jones is still out there. He's a ginormous individual, like 6'8", crazy wingspan. He can move for being a big boy. I mean, I don't have his 40 time off the top of my head, but he moved pretty well for his size. I mean, like I said, they did lose a tackle. Could it be DeJuan Jones there?
He ran a 5.3 40.
And being 6'8". Yeah.
6'8", 374 pounds, moving you in a 5.3. Oh, goodness gracious, man. Yeah, that's
how
moving,
many
man.
pounds?
374.
Wow.
Yeah, big boy.
He's
man.
not kicking inside.
But he's 6'8", so that that helps spread that weight out a little bit. He's not 6'4", 374. So
yeah. I'm trying to get back into the stream real quick.
Not that 374 is a small guy, no matter what height you are.
I mean,
good call. I mean, you could certainly put him out there. Played at Ohio State. Perennial lineman type of school. And this guy played through his senior year, but certainly has the measurables. My goodness, DeJuan Jones could be a great pickup for here. Like I said, I'm going to stick with my wide receiver. Albert, any particular place you want to go with him?
I would say cornerback.
Cornerback? That's right. You were saying Porter Jr. Yeah, yep. Porter Jr. would make perfectly good sense here, man. So, again, in a position of best player available. Yeah, we don't like it at all. I'm surprised, though, possibly, I don't know, pick's not in or anything like that, right?
No, the pick is in.
Pick is in,
yeah,
okay.
It's in. It is in.
We didn't get that phone call for at the end. Will Levis, man, sitting in the green room, gentlemen.
We're just
sitting in the green room, day 2, looking very Aaron Rodgers-like.
Yeah. Drew Luck all over again. No, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because, I mean, I don't think Levis will sit for very long. We've talked about Los Angeles being a potential fit for him right there. I kicked off the stream real quick, but I do have the pick. Albert, have they announced the pick yet on TV?
No, not yet.
Okay. We were all wrong.
We were all wrong.
All wrong.
That's great. Well, in this draft, the way it's went, man, it does not surprise me, man.
Oh, they go for the running back, Chardonnay.
They did not.
Oh.
Oh, man. That would have been interesting because they do have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They got, not Rodriguez. I'm John. What the heck's his name? Pacheco. That they found as a steal last year. Yeah, that kid's got some talent, man.
I'm gonna guess that they want Keon White.
Right position.
Oh,
right position. This guy, he was slated slower. I'll give you where he was ranked on PFN. He's the 51st ranked player on their draft board. There is
is he coming out of Auburn?
4. He is not coming out of Auburn.
Jeez. Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
He's coming out close to home from Kansas State.
This is a map knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This
we'll do the guess until they announce it.
Felix and Duke Uzuma.
Yes, that is who it is.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we can spoil the Chiefs. I don't care if Goodell announces them.
Sorry. Yeah, I was doing my research in the background. I guess I did kind of spoil it. I guess you could have just.
No, we need to spoil it. And honestly, At this point, this is two back-to-back years they've taken a defensive lineman. They took the what the heck's his name? I'm drawing a blank. At the end of the first round last year,
Yeah.
Carfolitis.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. I forgot
yeah.
about that.
So this is interesting to see how they're going to pair him up. They did just also bring in Charles Omenihu from San Francisco. So this is going to be, I think, more of one of those development picks. Just kind of ease him in. Like they always say, you never have enough edge rushers.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
well,
Yeah. Didn't
gentlemen,
necessarily see that one coming, man. That was a little bit further down the draft board than for most people. So they
yeah,
obviously saw things they liked, like you said, Kansas State product, 6'3",
yeah.
255 pounds, man. So flying off
At,
the edge.
at least I was correct on the right side of the field. Offense, defense.
Defense,
You know,
did better than I. So
yeah, you know what? It is interesting because that is a guy that it's practically in their backyard, so they're out there, so they probably have had eyes on him. So I mean, it's a comfortable pick if yeah. I don't have anything against it. He was tied to the Broncos if he slid.
yeah,
So that's kind of a bummer because that was a name that we were kind of keeping an eye on if they did slide. But it is what it is. It's Kansas City. We just got to hope that we find a way to compete with them. I know tomorrow I can't wait to talk more Broncos football as we have picks finally. This was a intriguing first round full of trades and surprises for sure. We've seen some people were worried about the run on receivers, but we ended up getting it right in the middle of the round. We seen two running backs go earlier than what we've seen running backs go in recent years. We've
That's
got
for sure.
Texans trading up to go back to back. We've got some wild stuff from today, and I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow.
And only two quarterbacks.
Oh, three. We had Richardson, Stroud, and Young.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Anthony Richardson going to the Colts. I think we kind of almost glossed over that, really, man. Things
We were talking
happening.
Richardson so early in the beginning.
Yep. So yeah, really interesting draft though, man. Like you said, trades up and down. I'm really excited. I'm going to be obviously in leading up to tomorrow, really breaking down what's left. I think, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of talent that lines up with our boards, and maybe even, like I said, I was looking at guys that were basically going to be in our range. I think there's going to be a few guys above there that's going to fall to us. We could be sitting pretty Broncos country. And thank you everybody for tuning in, man, and being part of the show tonight.
And the thing that I'm the happiest about is that we didn't get a Ditkus thingy that we traded all our picks for moving up into the first round.
There you go.
I'm happy about that. I with the amount of prospects left on the board, I say keep your eyes open tomorrow. With Sean Payton likes to move up. He's been aggressive in the draft. So if there's a player that he's identified as his type guy, I wouldn't be surprised to see us package some stuff and move up. Isaiah Foskey's a name to keep an eye on, edge out of Notre Dame. Definitely, we have three tight ends: Darnell Washington, Michael Mayer, Musgrave is still on the board, Laporta. So there's definitely going to be some interesting moves to see how it happens tomorrow. I'm just excited. We're going to have picks for the team that we support, undoubtedly. But gentlemen, David Slade's coming in saying good night, fellas. It has been a long 3 hours and 50 minutes, and I couldn't be more happy to get back on the mic with you guys and the DVR crew. And we're excited to bring you guys more wonderful content tomorrow. If either one of you guys got any parting shots for the night?
Let's
like
go
I said,
Broncos.
And like I said, man, just what a shocker of a first night. Trades up and down, players selected where we didn't expect them, players sliding, players still available. Man, I just can't wait for day 2, man. Stay tuned. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting because, like I said, with all of these things that have went on, there's a lot of players available. We could see a ton of movement. Stay tuned. Could be the Broncos. The Broncos. So we could even be moving up in day 2. So tune in early, and thank you guys for all the support tonight.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we will be live again tomorrow at the start of the second round. We'll be breaking down all the picks as they come in. We'll be providing you with more insight that's on our beloved Denver Broncos. We're just excited that you came in, kicked it to nearly 4 hours with us. For you, those of you who have stuck around, on behalf of the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, we're excited to always bring you the most exciting Denver Broncos, Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Rockies, and Denver Nuggets content. And just stay tuned because we have so many exciting things coming down the pipeline. And, the last part and shot, it's not Broncos related, but heading in tomorrow, Colorado Avalanche up against the ropes and Seattle's swinging hard. So we got to hope they bring home a win tomorrow and stretch this game to 7. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.